The following is a presentation of the Radio Misfits Podcast Network.
From the birthplace of modern winemaking, Sonoma, California, welcome to The Winemakers. Local experts Sam Couture, Bart Hansen, and Brian Casey, along with host John Myers, invite you to listen in as they discuss all facets of winemaking. So sit back, pour yourself a glass, and let's hear what the guys have to say this week.
Gentlemen, grab your glasses and your bottles.
Are we ready? 1, 2, 3. Woo! That was a good one.
Oh, yeah. Chaotic resonance.
Quadrophonic.
Quadrophonic.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the
Supersonic
show of the Winemakers Podcast. Yes.
Keep it down in there.
Yeah.
So this should be a fun show.
Behind the lines.
Everybody.
Take a step back.
James joined me documenting this thing today. And so,
I think about a half a James Joyner.
Brian Casey, Bart Hansen, Secretary.
Which half?
Welcome.
Don't worry, it's the good one.
You know,
It's the Joyner.
as a toast, guys, I want to say happy 300. This is a great deal. It's taken a lot of work over 6 years and just absolutely phenomenal. Thanks to Ed Silla, the Podfather, for putting the podcast network together.
All hail the Podfather.
All of our incredible listeners and our wonderful guests and you guys. Cheers. This is to all of the winemakers. And Mark, you got it.
Who would ever thought
Right.
we had the stick-to-itiveness to make it this far?
I
certainly don't. So I appreciate you guys
I had the
for
under.
dragging me along.
Sandra.
I had the under.
Sandra told me once that she thought we would do like 5 or 6 and that would be it.
Yeah.
The good thing we didn't when we recorded two
Right.
at a time, so that it'd at least always make it to an even number. It would have been episode 8, episode 10.
Well, hey, we're here. Isn't that amazing? But we've got a fun show today. Lots of guests that we're going to call and calling in. Lots of guests here in town.
I think
Stop
even
by.
one has already walked into the room.
Who's?
Chris
Chris Cottrell.
Cottrell.
Come on down, Chris Cottrell.
Fresh off the Black Wine Guy experience.
Yes, I saw that.
Can we
MJ.
ask you, Chris, to speak louder into the microphone for this show?
Yeah.
Sorry.
MJ, if you're listening.
Come on in,
Chris Cottrell. I've never been flipped off by Chris Cottrell until just now.
Excellent.
Chris, come in here.
Guy.
Chris, we love you.
I'd like to bring gifts.
Let it be known to all the other guests who are going to show up today. The first one brought
Setting the
gifts,
standard.
setting the standard.
There you go. Here you go.
Beautiful thing.
John.
Wow. Thank you.
Ooh, thank you so
Yeah,
much.
Gifts from Bedrock, Under the Wire, everything.
Oh.
We.
2017 San Giacomo in honor of 2017. When we started this podcast.
Yeah, that's
true.
You're really thinking.
In honor of Sonoma Valley.
In honor of Sonoma Valley.
And
Yeah.
not to start it off on this note, but you went deep into 2017 fields. Great episode, by the way.
Thank you.
I loved listening to it. Felt like I learned a lot about you.
Totally.
Totally.
It's easier to interview people than talk about yourself. Shockingly enough,
Yeah.
coming from me.
Yeah. No, it's all, you talk about yourself to deflect actually having to talk about yourself. Isn't that how it works? But 2017, it's year of this, and I was actually thinking about this today. All of the things that Sonoma has gone through in the 6.5 years that we've been doing this. And 2017, I think, how we made it to 300, being one of the outlets during and after the fires, and one of the things that kind of helped, all of us kind of process that, I think is one of the reasons we made it to 300.
And 2020.
And 2020, and that's absolutely the Zoom podcast as fucked up audio-ly, and actually one of the answers to the questions came from Brady. Her favorite episode was the one that you forgot to record, Brian. Was what she said, which was our first Zoom podcast. The trials and tribulations of that.
From
From CV.
From
From
CV.
CV, yeah.
From CV. We
Great
still
show.
Jim. It was a great show. Too bad we're the only ones who heard it.
It's funny because I don't think he's ever gotten back to us about coming back on the
Yes,
show.
shocking. He didn't want to come hang out with us today.
It's funny. I went through all of my photos and have been pulling out all the podcast photos that are amongst the millions of photos of grapes and bottles and stuff. And it's funny. I have it running on a loop over there, and you guys look at it too. Just kind of look at the timeline.
Right.
Like, it's amazing. Chris was a lot younger that first time when we recorded it.
A lot less gray. But I do have a brief statement I would like to make.
Oh, okay, please.
And then
read
read
it into the record.
I would like to, and I can take questions
Counselor
after.
Cottrell.
On May 4th, 2017, hosts John Myers, Sam Couturi, Bart Hansen, and Brian Casey humbly started a wine podcast with a glimmer of hope in their eyes and a dream to record a podcast that would showcase the best parts of California wine industry and give them a platform to increase their already large egos while chasing the power in the wine industry they so desperately crave. Today, a beautiful community of people that y'all brought together are here to celebrate your 300th episode. The Winemakers podcast hosts have recorded through fires, a pandemic, and Sam being really, really high. They have interviewed many incredible guests, up-and-coming winemakers, legends of the wine industry, all while occasionally letting the guests speak in between talking over each other and wandering through conversation in directions no one, including the guests, could understand. Incredible insights into the wine world have been shared, along with stories of the hard times and the good times in the business mixed with ramblings about the olden days of Sonoma and references no one who grew up 10 miles away from the Sonoma Square could get or relate to. I have laughed, I've been emotionally moved, I've learned a lot, and I've cringed at unintentionally problematic things that have been said. Y'all,
or intentionally.
y'all are great people, big hearts. Your passion can be felt through the speakers. You gave me a stage to talk to about our wines, a stage to the whole Bedrock Village and community to talk about their wines and experiences. You are all sincere, thoughtful, and wonderful people, and the industry is lucky to have you in it, advocating for the smaller folks, fighting the good fight. And you also had Joel Peterson on. It is no small thing you've built here. You have built a better wine community. Thank you, and congratulations. I can't wait to celebrate episode 1000 with y'all. If you're looking for an in-depth, engaging intellectual conversations about wine, you always know where to find them and tune in to Bedrock Wine Conversations, hosted by Chris Cottrell and Morgan Twain Peterson, available on all platforms, released every 2 weeks to 4 months. Congratulations.
Thank you, Chris.
Well, we planned like 2 hours of show, but can we just stop right now? Can we just cut it right now? We're not going to do better than that. I love the people who are coming later, but sorry. You didn't.
No, we have, cheers, man.
Cheers,
Thank you,
Chris.
Chris.
That was beautiful. Cheers.
Do you know Chi-Chi from, so John, you should know Chi-Chi from The Girl in the Fig. We used to work together also at the Fairmont, and now she's at Wit and Wisdom.
That's
Welcome.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank
Talk
you.
right into that microphone.
She's Jasmine and I went there the other night, and she said, I want to come by. She said, but I don't want to be on the show. So, of course, first thing we do is throw a set of headphones on her and put her in front of the microphone. Yeah.
What were people drinking at Wit and Wisdom last night? Oh no, they weren't open last night.
No.
What's your favorite wine you've been pouring at Wit and Wisdom lately?
16600.
Oh, All right, great. Thanks for coming.
That wasn't even a softball. That was like a tether ball.
And that's all, folks. That's it.
T-ball.
What was going to be a 2.5 hour show? Down
Down to 20 minutes. We finally figured
Now we're
figured out the formula.
Well, what Chris said was very, very nice.
Oh, that was
very heartfelt.
Yeah,
That's,
he's
that's good class.
totally. And I highly recommend listening to his
The pod.
Black Wine Guy Experience episode.
Oh yeah,
that just came out.
And I didn't get to ask him. Just
He was
stood up and
that
left.
was quick. Yeah, he was.
But nonetheless, I wondered what the experience was like doing that show.
I can tell you you're in a studio under lights in New York in some windowless building.
Cubicle.
And it was also, was I there? It was like, it was fall. And for me, being from California, dressing for East Coast fall, you're like never sure how many layers to have on. So by the time I got to his, and I was probably late and I was probably high. So by the time I got there, I was just sweating. So the whole time that I was there, and like MJ, he's a homie.
Right.
But when you're actually like literally in the hot seat, and he's got his list of questions, and he's making you drink out of tet. Well, not making you drink out of tet, but we're drinking out of tet. I was sweating. I sweat. Like that was my. It was a tough interview.
Well, and they had a great conversation going. I mean, he drews. We've had Chris on a couple times now, and I've heard him interviewed before, but he drew
Shit, I
things
never
out of-
knew.
Never would have
Never.
known. Yeah, it was very cool. MJ's got a real knack for that.
He's got a real good style.
Yeah.
It works well.
Let's get. Let's get Tim.
Can I just
get Chi-Chi, and then let's get Terrence, and he's got somewhere to go.
She's one of my favorite people in the industry here, and just one of my favorite people here in Sonoma. Those of you that don't know, we have a big Sherpa community here in Sonoma, and having worked with her at the Girl in the Fig and then over at the Fairmont, and she took it upon herself to learn more about wine and is gonna go for level 3, right?
Oh, damn.
Yes.
So she is like,
Let's see.
and I'm so proud of her.
Thank
and,
you.
It's nice to be able to go over and see it too. And she just recently got a promotion over
Congrats.
in Wisdom.
Thank
So
you.
that's probably why she's probably not drinking. I think she has to work later on
Right.
today.
She's got coffee. No wine.
But Chi-Chi, very proud of you.
Thank you.
and,
Thank you
yeah,
so much. Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Well, thanks for celebrating with us.
Thanks for stopping by.
And if you want, grab a glass. If you want to try anything that's here, we won't tell your boss.
You can even get a spit cut.
Oh, 2 weeks later, I'm fired. Alright. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much.
It's a
Of
very
course.
lovely experience
Yeah.
to be here.
Of course.
Wow. Okay.
Tanner, you want to hop in?
Going. On schedule. Everything's good.
No, come sit down.
Oh,
Tanner,
yeah.
by the way.
Karen,
Check
Chi-Chi.
this out.
Nice
Great to meet you.
Guest after guest, they're just rolling in. This is like the Tonight
A
Show.
man of many.
Man of. It's like, how do you introduce?
Nobody played her out, and somebody didn't play me in, so
Oh, you
Well,
fish.
that's because you're here to play in and out.
I play everywhere.
Yeah. Well, how do you introduce Tanner Wally? Frontman and lead guitarist of
Rocker.
up
Rockstar.
and coming hot Sonoma band Littleworth.
I'm not lead guitar. I'm not lead guitar.
Sorry, Austin.
But,
Rhythm guitarist.
Yeah, rhythm guitarist, but I have a better voice.
And the next time we can see you.
Wow, bro.
New Year's Eve.
That's not true.
Sebastian, right?
That's right. We're playing. We're supporting Marty O'Reilly, which we're very excited about.
Man, that's going to be a great game.
That's
Yeah, it's going to be so fun. Sponsored by or hosted by y'all.
Yeah.
So it's really exciting.
Y'all.
I guess
We're
we
very,
should.
very
Now we're plugging in the show.
You
Go
should.
buy tickets at the. I think on the Sebastiani website, right?
You can buy them. Yep,
Yeah.
that's right. That's
That's
right.
probably the easy. Or go to Marty's website.
Mhm.
I think we have a link in some bio somewhere. And it's like it's Sonoma, and Sonoma on New Year's Eve. Not a lot of stuff happens,
There's not, and
especially
like,
after 9 o'clock.
Right, exactly.
Especially
Yeah.
after 9 o'clock.
we learned really quick with our restaurants, like let's do like a special menu, or let's do a tasting menu or something else, and then it never really sticks that hard. It's sort of like people come in and they have fun, and then they're out, by like 9 o'clock, and they're like, okay, bye,
So
So
when you kick everybody out of your restaurant at 9 o'clock,
well, that's the plan.
so the staff can come and rock out at the show.
That's exactly the plan.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what so there will be a correlation there.
And of which restaurants, Tanner? Now that it's plural, talk about what are you in year almost? Is it year 3 of Valley?
Yeah, so we're about 3.5 years in at Valley Bar and Bottle right here on the plaza, the old Harvest Moon space.
Man, do you guys get great press.
Oh,
Awesome.
You know what? I don't care about the press. I want to talk about the breakfast sandwich.
the breakfast sandwich is fire.
It is unbelievable.
Yeah,
It is.
Yeah.
And, it just.
it's real simple too. It's all about just keeping it simple, stupid, as they say.
Kiss method.
I wasn't calling you stupid. I was just using that.
Well, you wouldn't have been wrong.
Yeah, well, I call myself stupid every morning.
The
in
finest
mirror.
Petaluma High has to offer.
Yeah,
Bart Hanson.
exactly.
Class 83.
Oh shit, that's what I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know. It's
I was born.
It's well established. Happy belated birthday, by the way,
Yeah,
Tanner.
thank you. But anyway, yeah, it's we have Valley Bar and Bottle on the Plaza, opened in July of 2020, and then we just opened up our second restaurant called Valley Swim Club. So
Packed every time I drive by.
Great dinner the other night.
Thank you very much.
First time, yeah.
Thank you.
You
Yeah,
know what the problem with Swim Club is? It's too fucking close to my house.
yeah, it's very close.
I was stoked because I was gonna be like walking distance Valley, and now I'm like, could you put that a little further away?
Exactly. It's really fun. I mean, we're really excited about Swim Club. I should say that we're very excited about the response we've had. We're also still humbly in kind of that phase 1 phase, not to be redundant, where we're still figuring out some details, making it warmer, making it cozier in the back, going into these months, and reading that side of town, which is very different from this side of town, and reading sort of the ebbs and flows of traffic and bodies and people and opinions and
Definitely
tastes.
a whole new animal over there.
Yeah, it's completely different. It's really fascinating, actually, the difference between the two, just in terms of guests and needs. But it's really fun. It's a great challenge.
It's awesome.
Tanner Wally,
Yeah.
thanks for being on. It's such
Thank
a
you.
pleasure to have you, man. You've done so well.
Anything to plug
throughout this town?
I don't have anything to plug other than really our Littleworth album and our new restaurant and my new restaurant. But the Littleworth
What's the album?
The album is online. It's Littleworth.
Oh, yeah.
First annual. You can stream it anywhere.
Do we have it on vinyl yet?
We
For the
don't.
tasting
I
room?
do have it actually mastered for vinyl, but we haven't had the funds to make that happen yet. But we'll get there.
Should have asked for more money for that show, though.
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. But more importantly, just wanted to give a huge thank you to all of you guys for everything you do for the community, from wine to food to just general love and respect for our little sandbox here in Sonoma.
Great vibes.
And it's really an honor and a pleasure to know you all. And of course, we're all buds here. But I will speak directly to Sam, and I've said this 1,000 times, but Sam was the first person I met when I moved to Sonoma, and you welcomed me on this podcast and welcomed me into your heart, along with Alice and Althea and the whole Couturier family. So thank you guys so much for letting me be a part of this, even for just a split second.
The 300th.
Yeah. Thanks for
And you are. Big
thanks for
birthday
your
party,
contributions to Sonoma, also for somebody who, new to town. You'll be new to town for the
because there's other
another
people that are
10
new
years.
to town that we don't invite to the podcast.
I just hit my 7th year, by the way. Here.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're stuck. Now you're here.
Now I'm here
You're a
forever.
lifer.
Yeah, I'm a lifer. I
Congrats.
wouldn't have it any other way. So.
Seriously, this is what life is all about. In the moment, being here and being alive. That's beautiful. Oh my God,
best.
Sandra
Anyway.
Bernstein just walked in.
Oh,
There we go. And it's picking up.
you, guys.
Hey, thanks, Tanner, man. 300th episode of the Winemakers podcast. John Myers, Sam Couturier, Bart Hansen, and Brian Casey. Tanner Wally was just here, and Sandra Bernstein. Oh, yes, you have to.
I want to jump over the table in the comments.
No way in hell you're getting out of this. No way. So, yeah. It's a great show today, man. We're having fun. I may have totally screwed up and fucked up, Sam. So,
What'd you do?
we might have lost some. Seriously.
Yeah.
Everything was tested already, etc. But we
It wouldn't be
it'd be very on brand, wouldn't it? So why don't you do this with
gonna
me?
sit in?
Give me another pour, and we'll start over.
Not.
What do I have to say?
I don't know.
There we go, Sam. Thank you.
Because right now it's dead air. So sit down and say something.
Welcome to the Winemakers. There we go. How on brand is all that? I'm
Come on.
totally screwing up.
Are you kidding?
But all good.
Sandra, so Casey Graybell had just sat down at the table, the Grenachista,
I mean,
and
Casey, you may have been on this show more than anyone else if you count the Grenache Day thing.
Yeah.
Do you have a count? How many times?
I'm probably at like 6, and the last time's been with Sandra too. So it's like we're tag team.
Amazing.
well, and Sandra, and then Sandra Bernstein is here, who those of you that don't know, founder of The Girl and the Fig and that whole empire.
I am still
guess.
alive.
She is still alive. But I was thinking about this last night, and Bart, I was doing the same thing, looking through pictures of, some of the past shows, and I posted a picture of the Roan Room. It was the sign that was up at the Roan Room, because ultimately you are like the base of the pillar of the Roan movement that started in Sonoma, and you are the reason that we are sitting here today, actually.
Oh, I don't believe that.
100%.
I mean, if I wouldn't have worked with you, and Darius wouldn't have bought an estate, and you sent me down to the Girl in the Fig, and then I met met Sam, and John was sitting at the bar at the Girl in the Fig. That's how this all started.
Wow, that's
was
so
us
crazy.
getting together.
Yeah.
Me converting John from a cab drinker to a Syrah drinker, and then getting us on the radio show, and then we decided we didn't like commercials or not swearing or
it was the not swearing thing
or schedules.
Probably not talking about drugs. No swearing.
Might have been the pro Roundup guy that John worked with.
Yeah. But yeah, 27. I am I think about it. 27 years doing Roan alone.
Yeah.
Which is just remarkable to me.
Yeah.
And with just all the cycles of, becoming popular and, losing it, and is it really real, and should people be replanting their vineyards, and all these things. And it's way mainstream compared to where it was 27 years ago.
Can't even imagine what that was like.
You would have died. Okay, I don't know if you've heard this story, but before we opened Glen Ellen, and there were choices. They were like, okay, 1997, do I do the politically correct thing and just get a wine from everybody that's like within a mile from us, right? We would have had Kenwood and Mayo, and I don't even remember who's there. And I'm like, okay, well, Glen Ellen Inn's probably doing that, and whoever's over there is probably doing that. No, I'm not doing that. And then we were like, and actually Joan and John and my assistant from Beyonce, Michelle. So it was really kind of the four of us. Joan, Cash's mom.
Joan Stein,
yeah, she hand wrote some of our blackboard. We worked together at Beyonce, so we go way back. But anyway, so then we had wouldn't it be great if we had the best wines, at the time, Conundrum was really hot and there were some things. And they're like, okay, nobody has frickin' heard of us. Nobody's going to sell us any of these wines. So I'm like, okay, let me come down to the wine exchange and let me see what we can have. And let's taste some of the wine with the food. But the whole time I'm thinking we need a hook. And at Beyonce for 4 years, the hook was Sam's stories and Italian varietals and made-up marketing and 5 seasons and, everything that went with that. And so I was like, I love drinking Rhones. Driving down from Paris all the way down to Nice and stopping and drinking out of a tumbler and just going, oh my God, this is the best wine I've ever had. So I did that. Now, when I went into the store, which is no longer there, unfortunately, it was really, I love that little store. Oh. You guys remember? It was
Sam,
Fig Pantry?
No. The wine exchange. Where the Massage Envy went, in there. I love that little place.
It was a great wine shop.
Yeah, I put together 12 bottles in a box that I thought were all Rhone, and got back to find out that I think 2 of them were not Rhone varietals. They never made it on the list, but it was definitely I have a lot to learn.
And that was probably all the store had. Probably.
Oh, it was.
Yeah.
It was totally everything they had. And I mean, I think there was a wine from Glen Ellen Winery, and there wasn't. They were random. And then I think our biggest wine that helped convert people to understanding the Rhone varietals or understanding where, where things are happening was Kendall Jackson had a... Was it Kendall Jackson? Yeah, had a Viognier that tasted like a Chardonnay, but we were like, oh, here, you want to taste this? You've heard of Kendall Jack. I think it was
topped with Chardonnay.
Sure
It's like Chardonnay with a little peach in it.
Try a little bit of this. But anyway, what a wild ride. And honestly, I would not have met all the wonderful people over these years. And
I know
gone
you're
to
kidding. The
France
V&A Bowling League and the Rome Rangers and Hospice de Rhone and making friends with Vicky.
How can I get a Person of the Year 2 times, 2 different organizations? Like, that says a lot. Woo! But anyway, yeah, and then I must say, I just haven't been drinking that much. I'm like looking at this table and I'm like, God, I wish I was drinking, but I'm not. And I have ended up giving away like 5 cases of wine to like friends, nephew, and friends that came from out of town. And I got a text and with a picture of a Jeff Cone Syrah or Grenache, I can't remember, but from 2000 and I don't know, ridiculously old, that I thought, oh, this is probably going to be corked, or it's going to be old. And my nephew sends me a thumbs up, 100 out of 100. This is so freaking amazing. Awesome. And I'm like, well, yeah, another reason to love Rhone wines. They last and they develop and they're delish.
Yep.
So anyway, I don't want to take up all your airspace because I was talking about The Bike Goes On earlier today.
We were talking about you earlier. We said we said Sandra thought there was no way we'd make it to 300. I had the under at like 20.
But I have to say, that's what I meant to say first is congratulations. Oh my God. I mean, just
very much
the fact
appreciated.
of trying to wrangle up all these cats to show up on time and to actually want to promote and market themselves and to get them here and knowing that it's great and watching how your downloads just increased year by year by year. I mean, or episode by episode. I mean, really cool. So,
well, you just missed.
And is this my equipment, by the way?
I don't know. It's mine.
Where is my equipment?
There it is.
Like in case I wanted to do like an NFT podcast.
It's possible that we could get that to you. And you just missed Cheering. Cheering was here. Who Sandra? You have no idea. Now she's going for her level 3 song.
Oh my God.
So these are
still at Wit and Wisdom?
She's at Wit and Wisdom.
Oh wow!
But all started at the Girl and the Fig.
Oh, amazing, amazing! Yeah. Oh, God bless those people over there. They just make my life beautiful in every possible way. Oh,
yeah.
Anyway.
Well, and people still bring us cookies from the Girl and the Fig.
I haven't had a cookie in a while.
I can't eat those things anymore.
Yeah, I know. It's so wonderful to see you guys. I love you all. Thank you for having me.
Love you too.
Thank you for creating this Rhone bubble that we get to live in.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you so very much, Sandra.
No, thank you.
And
thank you.
Every time I possibly can.
No, I know. You pay part of my monthly.
I'm at the Fig.
I know. I still read the notes occasionally. Yeah, I know when your parents are there generally. Yeah, but anyway,
Howard came in and sold it another.
You want to know why?
Why?
It is the best restaurant in town.
Oh, God bless you.
Just no question about it. Now we've got Tanner, Wally, and Valley. You guys are much more into Valley than I am, but. Everybody has their own.
Because
I grew up
like
with you
hipsters.
guys.
They're like little millennial hipster people.
Thank God there isn't a steakhouse that serves Bordeaux.
Well, that would be. I think Saul has some Bordeaux on his list.
I think the Lions shut down a few years ago.
Yeah.
R.I.P. Saddles.
Well, that's an exciting thing. Also, we're getting an infuse of some new restaurants, some new food places that I haven't gone to yet, but. Yeah. It's pretty exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Kenwood, God, you're going to be next door to Airy at Cafe Chidi. And
making pasta.
There and wow.
It's about to be like the Italian food capital of Sonoma County. Kenwood.
Yeah, kind of wild.
Oh, boy.
You know where I can get some Italian varieties?
Right, because when you're in Scotland, you go you eat Italian food.
We haven't even gotten to that. We haven't even gotten to that yet.
I don't know what you're talking about, Sandra.
Sorry.
No, we haven't announced. We have not announced Bart's big announcement yet.
Oh.
But we will get there.
And Bart's big announcement?
He's making a Shannon?
Oh, God.
He's not making a Shannon.
All
Not
right.
making cash yet.
Let's keep on
Oh, he's in the
schedule.
wine business. That's not an announcement.
I'm not sure when.
Wait, you
Brett
guys make
George
money
is-
at this?
No. We have fun. Cheers, Casey. How you doing, buddy?
I've been
Casey
doing-
Graybaugh, what did you
doing
bring?
well.
Oh, look, it's Grenache.
I brought some Grenache.
Amazing, really?
I was just thinking, driving over here the first time I did your show, and it was at John's house.
Oh God, that was years.
That had to be 2016
With the corgis.
Yeah, with the corgis and barking in the background, and the mailman rang the door at one point during the interview. It's amazing that you guys have been doing this long. Congratulations on 300.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's what, like once a week for 8 years?
Sorry,
math.
By our math, yes, exactly right.
I think they call that winemaker math.
Right, exactly.
3.5 episodes a month.
3.5.
The half episodes are the best, though.
I believe you.
We actually have one for you next week. We have a half
an episode. We do.
Yeah.
Oh, for Thanksgiving. Yeah.
Banger.
Yeah.
But why is it a half an episode since I wasn't here? Oh, I guess you can't give that away.
We didn't go for very long. Because we thought we had.
We
time
had
constraints.
Randall Graham and Elaine Chuck and Brown will be on next week, but we had limited time.
It was raining. Was it raining?
It was raining, and this
And we
tasting
had a-
room just is so busy that we can only take up the space here for so long.
Right, but we had like a 8 top heading in.
Yeah.
And
well, but remember when
getting Randall and Elaine to talk less than we talk was a challenge.
Well, if you think about when we had Randall on the first time, Brian and I were at Grenache Day, and we were going to record. And we were going to record a bunch of people, and Randall sat down with his friend, and an hour and a half later, they finished and got up, and I think we were done.
Well, I
and
think
nobody else.
We were, I think, drinking too, which
definitely drinking.
made it.
Yeah.
As the day went on, it got a little bit harder to.
Right.
Well, and
do
it
the show.
it did, but I've learned the value of a spit cup at this
And
point.
Randall likes to talk. I mean, there's no doubt about that.
If you can get him
You got a
going,
lot to say,
Yeah.
Done a lot. Has a lot of ideas, and is good at expressing them.
He was a really interesting guy to talk to. I mean,
Yeah, he's
the first time I've met him.
He's the professor from Back to the Future of wine. He's the Christopher Lloyd of.
I like it.
I have to say, I was a little let down though when I pulled up. You guys had finished, and there he's getting into a Chevy pickup.
Yeah, no
I'm like, what?
Citroen?
No Citron?
Yeah.
Oh, he was picking up cover crop seeds.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why.
Like a newer Chevy, like a
So he has a
Silverado,
real
or-
job.
It's like
I don't know.
it's like a vineyard truck for sure. Okay.
I wonder if
Well,
he got him back
apparently-
dry. That was the big question. It was raining.
Well, what happened was it wasn't. Here's what happened because actually, James Joyner delivered the cover crop in Phil's truck yesterday because it wasn't ready for him to pick up when he wanted to pick it up, and it was going to get to the point where he was going to get back too late. And so he was going to have to stay. It ended up getting complicated. So he showed up to hang out with Elaine and do a half an episode, and then head south, apparently.
Well, James took some great photos too.
Yeah.
I just saw.
And I
last night.
learned how to pronounce Poplachum.
Finally.
Thank God, because I'd been.
But can you explain what it is?
We've been talking about that for a while. I'm
Well,
glad that-
I've been butchering it for a long time.
Right.
I think I can explain what it is. I mean, it seems to be two things. One is a vineyard, sort of conventionally grafted, making wines that he can sell right away.
Right.
And then this other piece of it, which is the 1,000 million seedlings to see what happens
When what it produces.
what it produces, and in pursuit of
And pollination
in pursuit
from
of like
everywhere.
What's that?
Pollination from everywhere. He just was letting
Right, which and the whole thing is interesting because grape seeds aren't necessarily viable. Like they don't always work,
Right.
And mostly don't, right? That's why
we use rootstock.
Right, that's why we use rootstock and graft the way we do. But it was like the older grapes, the older varieties were stronger than the younger varieties. Like Cabernet, which in the sort of range of history as a. See, I do know some history. Chris Calabrese, one of the comments, younger variety than like Syrah, and the Syrah crosses are more viable than the Cabernet.
Serene, yeah. But anyway, that's something to look forward to for next week. You can have Randall.
And whatever Bart's big announcement is. He's got something in the.
Do you have?
Well, let's talk to Casey.
Yeah,
what the hell are you
Casey's here?
Yeah, what have you been up to?
Just wrapping up harvest, and we're pressing out our last 2 tanks today. Not for the Granachista, but for my day job.
Yeah.
It was a hell of a harvest. We got beat up.
Yeah, everything get compacted for you. Everything.
Yeah, definitely. It was like 6 weeks rather than their typical 10 weeks. We did 850 tons through our facility in 6 weeks, which was it was brutal for everybody on the crew.
2/3 of it was in the last 3 weeks of that.
Well,
or was it a little more spaced out for you?
No, we basically filled the facility in that last week of September, and then it was only as many. We could only fill tanks when we dropped them, so it was just full from into September to today.
Yeah.
So that was pretty brutal. But I mean, from what I'm seeing, the fruit quality was just outstanding.
Yeah.
I have a feeling I'm about to go back to the days of buy the glass McLaren Syrah at the Fig.
Steve Law in the house.
Yeah, there we go. Join us, Steve.
Hey, Brian.
Mr. Steve Law, Sonoma's own James Bond with his Scottish brogue.
Thank you.
The only living Scotsman in Sonoma.
I think so.
In Sonoma, possibly. Yes. Not the only one that wears a kilt, though.
Oh, I dropped my pencil. I got
Good to see you, Sandra. Love you too. Thank you.
Love you, Sandra. Thanks. All right. And we continue on the 300th show of The Winemakers. Still as on brand as we can possibly get. Casey Cravel and Steve Law at the same time. This is absolutely amazing. That's
ambient noise. We need some barking dogs.
Inside joke.
Did anybody bring a dog?
Does Cash not bark ever?
Cash barks occasionally. Like I've said this before. I don't know if I've said this on the show. Curry's a great dog. I love my dog. Cash is, and thank God because he's here a lot. Cash is a great tasting room dog.
Yeah.
He doesn't bark. He's not super food motivated.
He doesn't bite. He doesn't beg.
Friendly to everybody.
He always spits. He never swallows.
And he doesn't have a tail.
He doesn't.
Right.
It says hello to everybody.
No tail. The no tail thing, you don't like when Curry goes bounding towards a table, especially up here in the front where low table, you're worried about the glasses and the charcuterie, and it's both on the coming and the going with Curry. So we love having Cash around. Thank you, Joe.
Oh my, that tastes good, Steve Law. How are you doing, buddy?
Good.
Little 2012 Syrah.
Well, I thought
right
to
into the
celebrate
microphone.
your 300th, I thought I'd bring the same wine. I think we tasted together.
The Boney Glen.
Way back when you, I don't think I was the first, but I was in your first
one of the
10.
first
Yeah.
Well, we came over to your place on Vine Alley.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think we had this wine. We smashed a couple of them that day, I think. So
That's
hardly any left,
highly
so.
unusual, isn't it?
Well, John had one on his own, and the rest of us shot.
Well, I like it. It's nice. It's great wine, man. So
Good.
welcome.
Thank you.
How's the season been for you guys?
Good. It's been it was a hurry up and wait type of deal at the beginning, and then we've been waiting, and then everything came in together. And I mean, as you guys know, Bart and I share a place with another winemaker, Jamie Cutch, as well. And so on year to year, it's nice because we all have different varietals, and we all bring in at the different times, and it kind of spreads out nicely. This year, I think we had a day where we harvested, but remind me if I'm wrong, Bart, but we harvested Chardonnay, Grenache. I think you brought your Grenache, and I got some Viognier, all in the same day. And it's like, what the hell's name is going on? And, it was weird. It was really weird. So it was Mourvedre, yeah. So I mean, everything got smashed together, which was difficult from a logistics perspective. But so far, the quality is just fantastic. So, I mean, the flavors are great. The wines are looking good. I didn't make a wine this year over 13.3% alcohol, which for a cool climate guy is kind of I'm happy about.
You got to send all those bags of tartare back to Scott's Labs, right?
Yeah.
I don't think it goes bad. I think you can save it till next year.
You can swap it for sugar if you wanted.
Pound for pound.
Just don't get them mixed up.
Because I don't think Safeway have any bags left, do they?
Well, I mean, honestly, with this last year, I'd be trading it in for some yan, for some superfood or something. It was pretty crazy, the chemistry with him.
It was a weird chemistry year, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it was you couldn't wait for sugar. It wasn't about picking for sugar. It was picking for pH. The pH started moving, you had to go and get it kind of no matter what the sugar was at.
Tank space, too.
And tank space.
Tank space was the big one, yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, the crazy thing was, too, is some of the fruit was still hanging out there for ages. And I mean, nothing was moving there towards the end. I mean, the vines were shutting down. They're changing colour. And it's like, at that point...
Then it really was just about tank space.
Yes.
And
yes.
crews and tractors. And I mean, that's what it was just like, we can't get to it until Thursday because we have these other 3 places we're picking,
Thursday's no good. I'm filling that tank tomorrow.
Yeah, all right.
Steve, what was the last that came in? And
Roussan. I made some Roussan this year again. So
that came in last.
That came in last.
Yeah, totally.
And it came in at 20 brick. So it's going to be about a 12.5% alcohol wine, which is just
Hi there.
fantastic. Hey, handsome.
Hi, handsome.
We have seen
Steve
some.
was doing a little jig around the cellar when he came in.
I have seen some higher conversions, so I mean, you might be at
Yeah.
12.5
Yeah.
this year, right?
Yeah, 12.5. Yeah, maybe even 12.55. That's
And
good.
how did it go at your tasting space this year?
Really good. We actually got awarded our use permit after a 4-year process. Thank you. So we got that, and that was very nice. So we are officially open now, and so it's been going well.
Good.
It's been going well. It's just it's nice to have a commute that's less than 50 yards. Sometimes I forget I've got my slippers on.
And people can still come taste with. Does anyone else do the tastings, or is it just does
me.
Heather do them sometimes?
Heather will maybe do from club members if club members come in, and I'm during harvest. But she's I mean, it's the idea of doing this thing was so that I could just continue to do the by appointment rather than trying to keep a shop open down on Sonoma.
Yeah.
So it's really freed up my schedule, made it harvest a lot easier. In fact, Heather told me this year that I was much less of a basket case, which is good news, bad news, I guess, because I guess I'm less, but I didn't know I was one, so I guess that was the bad news. But yes, it's been good.
Yeah.
But you didn't say you weren't a basket case. Let's be clear. You said you were less of one.
Yes, but that
Slightly
kind of
less.
implies that you were one.
Well, you were a lot of one.
Yes.
Yeah, it's nice. Nice to be able to go and taste with the winemaker, right, Bart?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Overlooking our Viognier in Mavedra at Steel Plow.
That's still hanging, by the way. Right?
No, but we did pick the Viognier. It was that's our first pick. We picked it on that full moon morning at the end of September. That was like the 29th or something like that, which had been on a fully 3 weeks after the historical pick date.
Yeah.
I think that was actually 3 weeks after I picked our little, because we have a wee estate right next to yours now.
Yeah.
And it's planted to Viognier.
Oh, it is.
And so this year was our first year of doing it. I got the budwood from the Dutton Grigori vineyard out in Green Valley Road and grafted it on in 2020. So we got a very small, I got like half a ton off that little block there this year. But we picked it very beginning of September.
What did you get it at?
22 and a half.
So this is what's crazy about this year. 3 weeks later, we picked it at like 23 and a half. You know, you could wait forever for sugar to accumulate. You know, it just wasn't there.
That was moving.
We bought a little bit of Grenache from Klein this year, and it came in last Tuesday at 23.
Yeah,
just hanging.
And it was a decent sized crop, but it wasn't huge. No. Like what doesn't justify the slowness of the sugar. It was just cool. There was big canopy. There should have been a lot of. It was just a cool year.
Yep.
Yeah.
Klein's been doing really well.
Freezer?
My wife has been digging there. Was it the Grenache Gris that she brought and we tasted?
I remember
when Hillary came through.
Yeah.
When Hillary and we were trying to, even she was having a little issue explaining Grenache Gris, I think,
Well, Grenache Gris is the third mutation of Grenache, right?
Some say it might be the first.
The first mutation of Grenache.
Yeah.
Or like the first version before
Yeah.
the mutations are the white and the red.
Yeah, and I
We
don't
should-
think
we
that
have
they
the
actually.
Grenache we should ask.
I
him.
know. I was going to say we get.
I don't think
we
they
got
actually
good
have any
person to ask.
Grenache Gris out there. I think they're making a white Grenache.
So that was the confusion.
So
I
they're
think
doing like a
yeah.
Blanc de Noir on it.
Blanc de Grenache.
Yeah, because there's not a whole lot of Gris planted out there, and I'm pretty darn sure they don't have it.
There's a lot of Grenache Gris planted in California, is there?
No, not anymore. In fact, there's only 3 spots here in the North Bay that I know of, and then a few in Paso and a few in Santa Barbara. Yeah, so there's, I don't know for sure, but I don't think that they have any Grenache Gris.
All right.
Different SKU. It's like white Pinot.
It's white Pinot.
You're like, what the fuck is going on?
It's a rosé that they went like, they added sulfur and went, oh shit, where'd all the color go? Which I think has happened to all of us, right?
Not in the same glass, though.
No, right. We didn't bottle it though.
And Steve, do you actually have some of this wine available that we're drinking?
No.
Or is this just out of the...
Yeah, that was just, I grabbed that on the way out. This was the first time, this was my first vintage of working with a Vivio vineyard up in Bennett Valley.
Oh, yeah.
And that was 2012. It was a cracker of, 2012 was a nice cool climate vintage too, which was kind of nice. And it was a nice...
Every time I hear Bennett Valley,
yes,
I think of Kieran Robinson,
Yeah.
who was one of our first guests, and actually how Dave Hayes learned about us, and how
And how actually I ended up here.
Artie
'cause
Johnson
I've
in the
known
house.
Kieran for a long
Excellent.
time. I think I was right after him.
and I remember the story he told about the fire, how he had everybody, they finished picking, left the grapes there overnight, and they got all smoked out.
Well, I
It
think
was-
they ran for their lives.
That was in 17. It was
Yeah.
so sad because in 17, we actually I picked the Vivio vineyard on Friday, and I remember chatting with Kieran and saying to him that we had a crew for picking on the Friday. And he said,
Wait, are you saying Friday?
Friday.
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 Okay, cool.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, you're starting to speak Scottish.
Bring that up.
Yeah.
I was like, Freitas Road?
Starting to understand what you're saying.
Okay.
Soon you'll be saying we. So we picked on Friday, and Kieran had said he couldn't do it because he just didn't have the tank space, and he was going to pick on Monday. And unfortunately, the fires came through on
Sunday night.
and he got evacuated from the vineyard on Monday. And so I was actually the last winery to pick it. And so it was, I didn't go back in 18 because Chris Boland at the time was the vineyard manager. And he told me that the fire got really, really close to the vineyard. It singed the vineyard a little bit, but not too bad, but it melted all of the irrigation. So they ended up replacing a lot of the irrigation through 18, and I got back into Vivio in 19. That's when I got back into it. But yeah, it was a sad, tough area.
And I just missed Kieran. I was back in Philly, or I was in Pennsylvania for the Little League World Series, and I flew into Philadelphia.
World Series, is that football or is that hockey? What's that?
That's these kids. They throw a little ball around.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
little white ball with a bat.
It's like cricket, but it makes sense.
Right. And it only lasts
I think
now
that's
2.5
only how much you
hours.
smoke, Sam.
Yeah, Kieran happened to be out here while I was there, so I didn't
Not
get a
too
chance to didn't get a chance to see him. But yeah.
I hooked him up with some barrels
Oh, for
one of his projects.
oh, cool.
Cool.
Okay.
He's a good man.
Well, yeah, we talked about him trying to stop by, but I think when he's out here, he's pressed.
Steve, don't go anywhere because I'm going to give Dave Hayes a call here real quick, and I want him to because the stories just fit so well, and he's waiting for us to call. So
that was a nice segue, John.
Thank you very much.
We have a radio guy.
Right, that's why you and I aren't in charge.
I almost said, and we'll be right back on KSVY Pirate Radio. So, hey, Dave.
Hey, what's going on?
Oh, man. Mr. Hayes, David Hayes, how are you, buddy?
I'm doing well. Enjoying the weather back here in the Midwest.
St. Louis, well, what's going on with it? You got snow yet this year, man?
No, man, just sunshine and 70 degrees. 60 degrees, maybe. I don't know.
Nicer than it is here.
Well, we were just talking about you because we've got Steve Law here, and he was just remembering that 2017 pickup with his grapes at
Vivio.
Bennett Valley,
Yep.
Vivio?
Vivio Vineyard, yeah.
And we were talking about the fire and all the damage, but you got to us through Kieran, right?
Yeah, Kieran Robinson. Yeah, I had been out there the summer in July of 17 and visited with Kieran at his little place out there when it was still there, and just followed him, and he posted on something he was going to be on this podcast, and so I tuned in, and that was the first one. I was actually looked back to see what it was called. It was like back to reality or back to normal or something like that. So
Post fire with Kieran.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So then I went back and listened to the rest of them from the beginning and haven't missed one since. So.
Well, what I like about you, Dave, is you just show up at some events in Sonoma, and usually and we love them all, but guests, customers, friends email you ahead of time. Like when I turned around and saw you at April Fool's Day, and maybe I knew that you were coming and I forgot. I don't know, but you're sort of that silent supporter, and we totally appreciate all you've done to spread it and listen over the last 300 or so.
Yeah, man, I tell you, that was an event. Now, that was one of the highlights of my wine journey. I think. Top it off with the fact that, I met with. I did a tasting with Rosemary Cake Bread the day before.
All right, yeah.
And then we had tornadoes in the St. Louis area that night. She actually came up to me at the event and said, "Hey, is everything okay at home?" Looked like, what a sweet person to remember where I was from and come and check on me. And we were all good, so it was fine. And then while I was there, Bart introduced me to drawing a total blank. Loxton Cellars.
Oh, Chris Loxton.
Chris Loxton, yeah. And I showed up, signed like that night. I'm at the hotel, and I'm looking at the website, and he's like, "Hey, I do a vineyard walk every Sunday morning. Sign up and come." So I went and hung out with him in the vineyards the next morning. And
cool.
It was just a great weekend. I mean, you're by yourself, you got nothing better to do, but so go hang out in vineyards and drink wine with people. So
yeah, we still got to get Chris Loxton on. He's a guy that's always, I think he's kind of a one-man show himself and always going.
Yeah. Well, he's just walking about in his vineyards.
Right, exactly. Well, his vineyards are extensive.
Yeah. And we were, and actually, Steve, we were out there. I was at your place in 2022.
Yep.
We came and visited. So
yes,
another find from the Winemakers podcast, early Winemakers podcast.
Yeah. And that Grenache that Rosemary made from Rossi Ranch is one of the prettiest Grenaches that I've had out of that vineyard. That's just a gorgeous wine.
I'm so lucky. That is the only Rossi Ranch. I run a wine program at a restaurant here in Edwardsville, Illinois, and that's the only Rossi Ranch fruit I think I can get as of right now in this part of the state. So it's got a permanent spot on my wine list. So
nice. That's the 1818 Chop House, right? Or 1616, 1818. What?
1818.
There you go.
Yep.
How much has your wine list changed since you've taken over?
That's a funny conversation. The owner actually commented on that. Megan, and I think you guys at 16600 met Megan a couple. She was out there earlier this year.
She's awesome.
Yeah. And she was like, "Dave, I walk into the wine cellar and I don't know anything, and that in some ways it bothers me, but in some ways it's a relief because I don't have to remember everything anymore." So. I've probably changed out 80% of the list since I've.
Wow, good for you.
How many guests or podcast guests are represented in the pages of that wine list?
As many as I can. Let's see. I've got. I do have Rosemary, but she's not been on the podcast. But she's a Rossi Ranch, so I kind of tagged that in. So.
Well, you've got Dane, 16600 Bedrock.
We're not.
We're not distributed in those.
Right.
Yeah. No, and I don't even like. So Bedrock goes through a distributor up in Chicago, called Cream,
Right.
and they don't, not to badmouth them, but they don't distribute south of Springfield, and I'm an hour or so south of Springfield, so I can't even get their stuff. So
Sounds like time
But-
for a road trip.
I think so,
Yeah,
Steve.
yeah.
I think a road trip.
I mean,
Come
like
on by.
Smoking the Bandits, like we load up a
Yes.
truck full of our wines and deliver it.
Got a
The black
long way
car,
to go.
the black
and
car
a
used to
short
drive the
time
Gets
to
to
get
drive the
there.
Trans Am.
But
Yeah.
but Stephen, Your Honor, we
John's driving the Trans Am, Dave.
Trans Am, that was it, yeah. Can we leave on a Friday?
On a what? We're getting our route down? What?
So, Dave, what's really... Go ahead.
I do have Jeff Cohn. Jeff Cohn is on my list. I do have some Charles Smith stuff on the list. He's been on there before. So, yeah, there's a few people.
We haven't even started on this Jeff Cohn Magnum that we have in
Smoke
front
and
of
mirrors.
us. Smoke and Mirrors. We
Wow,
got
I wondered about
the
that.
13.
Ooh.
Wonder if
Oh, wow.
wonder how we got that.
I have the
know.
18 on by the glass right now at the restaurant. So
Cool.
Yeah. So what's the surprising hot seller at the 1818 Chop House right now, Dave?
Oh man, I'm always trying to pull something weird out of the hat. We ran through some Beaumarchais Clos Pepe Vineyard Pinot
Nice.
this weekend.
Cool.
But the Smoke and Mirrors has actually been it's been a slow burn to kind of pick up some pace, but we're actually moving through some
Slow
of that
burn,
now.
get it?
So yeah, see, I didn't even try that, but yeah, that's that worked out. So. But yeah, always weird stuff, and then anything but Camus. So
Anything but
ABC.
Camus.
ABC.
Hey, what can you say? Well, Dave, I'm really happy that you were one of the early adapters. You turned Roger Randall onto the show, which is really great. You guys met at a dinner, right?
yeah, actually, we were both listeners at that point in time, and I don't know, we may have been the only two in St. Louis. It was fall of maybe 18, I think, and we were at a wine dinner at the Chase Park Plaza in St. Louis, and it was called the Zen Masters dinner, and it was Joel Peterson, Morgan Twain Peterson, that was like the week that they got announced. They were number 2 or whatever on the Spectator Top 100.
Wow.
Mike Officer was there, and Jake Bilbro was there, and
Limerick.
yeah, there were like 6 people at this dinner. I don't know, maybe 40 people, 20 tables or something like that. It was not a big event, and they all spent 10 minutes at your table, and then the server, we were talking to the person who was serving us, and they're like, "Oh, you guys are from Illinois. This other table, they're from Illinois too," and it was Roger and Christy sitting there right at the very next table over from my wife and I, and we didn't know each other, had never talked or anything. mountaincabernet@gmail.com had not been even announced on the on the podcast yet, so. I didn't know who he was. He didn't know who I was. But yeah, so right here, just miles away from each other.
Smiles away.
Smiles away.
There you go.
Absolutely.
Well, Dave, thanks for all your support for the podcast and for everything. We really
Yes, sir.
appreciate it, and it's been great meeting you. And
you need to get out here again.
Yeah, we'll see you soon.
See you soon.
Hopefully.
Yeah, coming next March. I'll be out in March.
Yep.
So.
Perfect.
Excellent,
Planning
man.
that trip for you, right?
Yep.
Yep.
All right, brother. Thanks so much, and really, truly appreciated you guys being friends and listeners. So,
Thank you so much. Take care, guys. Cheers. Congratulations.
thank you very
you.
much. All right, and Dave Hayes from St. Louis, sommelier, and well, I don't know if he does anything else other than the wine program.
I think he's a wine guy.
1818 Chop House in St. Louis. All right. Sam, please introduce our next guest.
We got
And Isabel
Isabel's
Gassier
hanging out.
in the
As-
green room, and Steve
We're all
Walters
here
hanging out.
hoping Artie's going to drop some knowledge.
the abridged version of the Gospel of Artie
Right.
Johnson.
And a little bit of wine.
Right.
Welcome,
How's it
Artie.
going?
How you doing, man?
I'm good. I'm glad I'm going before Isabel, not after.
Right? We'll close it out with Isabel. Nobody's going to want to follow. What's going on, Artie? What did you bring, first of all?
Wow. Well, first of all, gentlemen, happy 300th episode.
Thank you.
That's a lot of work and that's a lot of dedication, and you all have really provided an amazing platform for winemakers like myself who are creative, who are making these like really amazing handmade wines, and we got to get these out to the people, and it's harder to do than you realize. So platforms like this are priceless. So thank you very much, all of you.
Thanks for making the wines that we get to talk about.
It's my pleasure. You know, it's I brought today some Decathlon. So that's my other label, not second label. Other label means it's just as important as Le Artichasic, but Decathlon gives me some kind of single vineyard creativity, and this is 100% Syrah. It's predominantly from the high vineyard, so it really represents the Carneros region, which is so beautiful for Syrah. So please enjoy that.
I got that other bottle you brought over in the freezer, so we'll give that a couple minutes.
Yeah, I brought a little bubbles, man. You know, you have to take the time to appreciate where you are in life and where you've come from. So champagne always does that for me. You all know I'm a Rhone guy, I'm a Grenache and Syrah guy, but I drink a decent amount of champagne as well, and I think we have to stop and celebrate. So I brought that for you all to celebrate what you've accomplished.
Thank you.
I'm dying to know what that bottle is, but I can be patient. Probably not.
It needs a little bit more chill on it.
I mean, Artie, I want to thank you for being on the show a couple times now, and I always find that after you've been on the show, I get very kind of in my brain about thinking about some of the things that you say, and already today you've dropped a little bit, and I just want to thank you for that. You have to slow down, and you have to appreciate things, and you have to slow down and think about what you're doing, and so cheers to you.
Thank you. It's my pleasure. You know, the wine business is tough because there's not a lot of instant gratification, you know, and
wait, is there any?
Yeah, when I sneak over there to find out what that bottle of champagne in the freezer is.
You know, you gotta wait. You know, you make these wines and you put them in a bottle, and then you say, oh wow, you know, it's 3 years old, and then you're like, oh wow, it's 7 years old, and then you go to a party and everyone's got wines that are 20 years old, you know. And you're like, wait a minute, I haven't made any of those yet. So I think it's a business where you have to really love the process and not the end result. Because let's face it, our kids will be enjoying the end results, right? They'll be drinking the wines that we made that are 25, 30, 40 years old. So just to come here today and see all of you in the midst of the post-harvest craziness that I've had is really, really cool. So thank you.
Are you pressed off?
No.
I knew the answer to that.
When it comes to Syrah, I'm kind of a hoarder, right? Like I go from Mendocino to Santa Barbara, so I have some lots. Yeah.
From Walla Walla to Santa Barbara.
I do, yeah. I don't want to confuse everybody, but I do. I do make a Rocks District Syrah. 22 will be the first vintage, but my southern stuff is still ticking away. Slide Hill and Edna Valley, Zodovich down in Santa Barbara.
And when did you actually bring that in?
I brought those in on November 8th. Right. So it was kind of, and traditionally some of those lots come in November, so it wasn't like that long of a difference between this year and previous years.
It was the late stuff wasn't much later than it usually is. It's that all the early stuff was way later than it usually is.
Yes.
So it all came in at the same time, right? I mean, that was our experience. Anyway.
Tell us a little bit more about the Rocks District that you're working on.
You know, I was fortunate to get into the Rocks by a friend of mine named Dave Wannick, Walla Walla Land Company, and they're investing in vineyards up there, and they really believe in it. And I think everybody just really wants to kind of contribute to what Christoph has done. You know, Christoph really, with all his projects, Cayuse and Horsepower and No Girls and all that, he really, I feel like, kind of put the region on the map. So now a lot of people want to come and support that. And there's two vineyards. One is called Stone Valley. The other one is called River Rock. And I harvest those and I blend them together to make the Rocks District Syrah. And, you know, my style is like very elegant. I love structure. And so I just kind of wanted to bring like my take on that really special terroir. So the first release will be next summer. It'll be the 2022 just try to be gentle as possible. A lot of large format barrels, never racked. Try to keep the sulfurs low. Just really like express that really, really special terroir.
Yeah, we've talked about this before, Artie, but there is something about the Rocks District when it comes to Syrah that, is so terroir specific and to that region, and so interesting, and I'm excited to see your take on it for sure.
Thank you. Yeah. There's a famous French winemaker here that I would love to have her try my Syrah. So, we all,
Isabelle Gossier.
We all need validation. I'm no different.
Well, the Rocks District has been getting so much good press, and they're making beautiful wines.
Yes, it's the thing that I think is very interesting about the Rocks is, it's the only AVA in the United States that's drawn up around one single soil series. So if you just stop right there and think about that, that's extremely special. And there's a lot of amazing winemakers up there too. I'm just there to try to contribute. And kind of give my take on it. And I think it's an undiscovered area to the populace, But there's a lot to accomplish up there, and I'm happy to contribute.
Well, they're going to have a little coming out party in April because Hospice de Rhone is rolling into town. And I think they just had Grenache Fest, so they got a little taste of what's about to come.
Coming their way.
A little taste. Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be exciting. I'm lined up to be up there, and my wife is going to come with me as well. And my assistant,
have you rented your house yet?
Yes. Well, I didn't do it, but a good friend of mine did. I spoke about Dave Wannick, and he's got some accommodations for several of us up there because he really wants to promote the region. He's heavily invested in the region, so we want to go up there and support him and bring our beautiful wines and talk it up. I mean, I think one of the great things that we've done in Napa and Sonoma is we understand how to promote the region, and people take that for granted. I think what you're seeing right now is, all the boys down in Paso Robles, I think they've learned a thing or two from Napa and Sonoma, and they're really, really promoting that region. And I think what's next is the Rocks, and it's about excitement. We have to get people excited about the wines. I mean, we don't sell inexpensive wines, none of us. So how do we get that client to be excited about spending good money on what we do? And I think that's what's next for that region.
Totally. Yeah, I'm excited about Walla Walla. I'm going to figure out how to go to Walla Walla and Tulsa at the same time.
Yeah, I don't know how you're working that out.
I'm going to clone myself between now and April 17th. Yeah.
It's called Send Your Brother to Tulsa.
Or Victor.
Send Victor to Tulsa.
Victor, yeah.
There we go.
Yeah. You have a few months to, get them on board and
totally
like Samisms.
I don't even think he's going to take that long.
No,
got it.
He's most of the way there.
Right.
Artie, this wine is amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. This is mostly Hyde Vineyard. Chris Hyde, very good friend of mine. Larry Hyde, mentor of mine. I work with amazing growers, and I just try to be very attentive in the winery, and I try to be as gentle and elegant as possible. And I think it's the boring stuff that makes wines great. You have to pick at the right time. Crop loads are important. You can't be greedy, and then you have to get a wine in bottle that has a lot of energy. That's kind of how I give my clients value, because you can let the wine sit in the cellar for a decent amount of time. You don't have to worry about the wine falling apart. Everybody that knows me knows I love structure. I don't run from structure, even though people try to call me the Napa guy. I live over there, and I'm married into a Cabernet Sauvignon family. I love structure. And as long as you kind of approach the tannins in a very, positive way, we don't want harsh tannin or green tannin, but, tannin that's alive, it makes me excited because the wines are good with food. And as you all know, I kind of grew up in the industry working as a wine director, so I drank the wines of the world for many, many years, and it's just about place and texture and structure and, long finish and beautiful aromatics. So hopefully in all the wines I'm
check. Yeah. And Artie, how do you recommend people get a hold of your wines? Because I try and tell people, and it's almost like a Where's Waldo type situation. Like,
if you have to ask, you're not,
Yeah.
you have to ask.
Now, I think the first thing is, my social media handle is WineXYZ. So WineXYZ. That's my Instagram. And that's like text message from me. So a lot of clients reach out and, request the wines through there. It's pretty much a direct consumer project.
Yeah.
We love to find new clients that enjoy and appreciate the wine, and most of our business is referrals. I think that's something I'm very proud of, because if it's kind of easy to sell someone wine the first time, but reorders mean they actually like the wine.
Yep.
Because people will buy wine from you for a bunch of different reasons, right? But I really want them to buy it because they enjoy it and it brings some type of value to their life, and they can share it with their friends. And also, like, there's some uniqueness to the wine. I'm big on that. I think we have far too much wine in the market that tastes the same.
Yeah.
You know who you are.
Well, it's beautiful. And thank you so very, very much.
It's a pleasure. I just want to be followed by this amazing winemaker here, so I'm gonna hand over.
And that Cabernet family you married into, I love the Sangiovese, the Staglione.
Yeah. Hey, cheers to Papa. Yeah. Shout out to the Stagliano Sangiovese. Yeah. Gentlemen, 300 episodes, it's a lot of work. Everybody, they look at things and they say, oh, that must be so fun and that must be so easy. But I know that you all are true professionals, and everybody at some point wanted a podcast or tried a podcast, but 300 means that you actually made it. So please continue in any way that I can contribute. Please let me know.
Absolutely.
Thanks, man.
Thank you, man.
Love you
Appreciate
guys.
it.
Always. Oh, well, how much fun can you have on it's a Wednesday, isn't it? I think
every day's a Friday.
I mean, the best thing about doing this podcast all these years is having an excuse to open up bottles at 10:30. I looked at it.
Well, that's what I used to tell my wife, right? I don't know what you tell your wife. I'm like, I don't have a fantasy football league. I'm not on a softball team. Right. I'm not going to Hooters with my friend Steve, who hangs drywall on Friday night. Right?
You go with him on Tuesday night.
No. This is our thing, right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah, for sure. And I see it keep going along without a doubt, because there's no shortage of people to have on to talk to.
Right.
And so Levy, because I know Levy's listening, we're coming after your number, dude.
Okay.
Well,
simmer down there, Bart.
In continuing with our
maybe I should have been using this big
party,
cup.
Isabel Gassier, welcome, and so nice to have you back in the States and back in Sonoma.
Isabel's in town.
Thanks for having me.
The girl, she's back in town. I told Isabel the other day, I said, we talk about you so much in the tasting room. We just wish you were here more often. But I mean, we get it.
It's hard to be on both continents at the same time.
You're bicontinent. I don't even know if that's a term, but
I think so. Multi-continent.
Yeah.
How was the year? Everything in France.
How did they do before you got here, Isabel? Let's get right down to it.
Sorry, I'm still coughing up a little bit. It was an interesting growing season, to say the least. It started off with the absolute driest winter we'd ever seen, which meant when bud break hit, we were a little bit nervous about how we were going to grow grapes. And then it just started raining, and it didn't stop raining. So it was a very tricky growing season where we had to do a lot of sprays because we're organic, so everything's contact, so we have to get in at the right time. So we did lose a little bit of crop to mildew. Luckily, it was minimal. And then the summer stayed kind of like here, a little bit cool. It was definitely not, we didn't get any heat spikes like we did in 2022. And so pretty early vintage, and the wines are, we were done harvesting, I think, October 4th.
So you weren't late like we were here?
Not at all.
Wow.
It was still, I wouldn't call it a cool season. It was just a wet season. Well, it was a little bit tropical.
and you said you didn't have any heat spikes, but I keep hearing how hot France is?
So we have like a really interesting microclimate because we are at the, so we're in the Southern Rhone Valley, the Costière de Nîmes AVA, not AVA because it's not American, Appellation. Sorry. And there we're right where the Rhone meets the Mediterranean. And so whenever it gets really hot, the hot air rises and cool air gets pulled in from the Mediterranean. So when it's kind of like here, when it gets really, really hot inland, you get more fog. Well, when it gets really hot for us in like more, further east or further north in the Rhone Valley, then we actually get a little bit more of a breeze. And so we're in a very hot region, but that doesn't get the heat spikes and the heat, like the crazy heat that maybe Châteauneuf might get.
And do you guys have restrictions at all on irrigation?
We do have restrictions on irrigation. We need, basically, the appellation will authorize when you can start using irrigation, and it tells you when to stop use irrigation. When it comes to quantity, I mean, grapes are like with olive trees, the crop out there that requires the least water, and everybody's out here trying to make the best possible wine. So I feel like everybody's use of water is pretty conservative, and is not trying to just create like, I don't know, big berries and unripe grapes.
Yeah.
The idea is just to come and help the plant transpire when it's really hot so that you don't lose crop and so that you don't get these like stress tannins on your wines.
No, I was just wondering because you said earlier in the season when it was really dry that you guys were kind of freaking out a little bit, but then you got a bunch of rain. So I was like, oh, maybe they're not letting you actually do.
You can't irrigate that early in the season, no.
Huh.
Yeah. So you kind of just have to
Cross your fingers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
All right.
So that's what we did for a while. And then rain came, and then we got more rain that we would have needed, but we always need more rain.
Right.
Can't complain.
And then are you keeping tabs on what's going on here? Like, is Sam calling you and saying like, hey, everything's getting pushed back a little bit. We're going to be really compacted.
I don't wake
Is he
up,
saying like,
I don't wake up early enough to call Isabel.
It's
she
Phil.
talks to Phil at like 5 a.m. local time when
Right.
she's getting ready to go to bed.
and is Phil like,
Or
when are
even
you
earlier.
coming?
Sometimes he calls me, it's like 4 p.m. my time, which is like probably, or even earlier.
Yeah.
Like he calls me probably first thing in the morning when it's too early for him to call other people.
Yeah, exactly. He knows. No, he calls every. It's probably. Sorry, James. We don't rate in Phil's call list. It's Isabel, Miguel, and Jesse.
And Max.
And Max.
Max gets early calls.
Because
too.
Max basically wakes up at the same time. We're sleeping. He knows that he can't. He has to wait till like 6 to call. Do you answer? No. Yeah. Okay. Good.
Yeah. So is he calling you like going, hey, when do you think you guys are going to be done? Are you coming out here? We're
Yeah, he definitely like tells me when I buy my tickets after consulting with Phil, obviously. He always tries to get me here earlier than I
Of
can.
course.
And I'm like, Phil, you haven't even picked the grapes yet.
You know,
so.
it's ironic though because he's always telling the winemakers to wait.
Right.
Right. So
wait until Isabel gets
get
here.
the wine right.
I think he'd have it that I'd stay probably a full month, which would be really cool. But
Also, that'd be a month of living with my parents, which.
I mean, it might have been hard for you. It's really easy for me.
I was kind of wondering that too.
It's
going
lovely.
forward, really going
she
forward.
shows up, she gets a BMW and that's on a different time zone than her father.
And art and food, and I'm not home for dinner every night. No, it's lovely.
And there's a great espresso machine.
How long?
That's the thing I
And a
miss.
beautiful view,
And a great
and like
view. And the-
wonderful company. I love your parents.
Yeah.
So I
And
love
there's no
staying
more
up
rooster
there.
in the chicken coop.
How long are you staying this time?
It'll be 2.5 weeks total, and I'm leaving in like a little under a week. Yeah.
But
Sniff, sniff.
she's, I don't know if you saw my Instagram post over the weekend. She's dancing through the aisles of Magnolia, so there's not much
I like it.
left for her to do here. She's fixed all her problems, and she'll fly back to France just in time.
Did you
for
fix all
French
your
Thanksgiving.
problems?
All my problems?
Yeah.
No, just the wine problems. Just wine problems.
Happy to help.
How do you like the fruit from here this year?
I love the vintage so far.
Yeah.
I think it's phenomenal. There's a lot of everything going on. I can definitely tell it was a cooler vintage. I feel like at least compared to back home, Sonoma and Napa, there's like such a crazy diurnal shift and such a long growing season that there's always like a huge potential for tannin, anthocyanins, and aromatics. And then it's just a matter of like how hot does it get, and if you get these massive heat spikes, then it might kind of burn off a little bit of the tannin, and you get maybe more like wines that are a little more supple or ready a little bit sooner. This is a year with beautiful structure to me. Like I feel like there's a lot of everything because there was no heat to cook through anything. So the purity of fruit is like I've never seen it before. The wines are so bright.
That's saying a lot.
Yeah,
Really
I think
is.
it's a beautiful vintage. I think so far the tannins are very present, but there's like this silkiness to them that's very inviting, very enticing. It's so early because red wines in great vintages can still have the potential of like completely closing up in the winter and kind of hiding their aromatics. You can get like really square tannins and have these wines close up for like 5 years or so. So I don't know if that's going to happen or not. It's way too early to tell. But so far, I feel like, there's very vibrant acidity as well. So for me, it's a matter of making sure that we're filling out the wines so that we're integrating acidity and integrating the structure and tannins. And I think that if we do that right, then it's going to be a vintage for the books. Yeah.
All right.
Cool.
From the limited sample of grapes I deal with.
Rossi Grenache, basically. Oakville Grenache.
No, but the
That's what
Zinfandel,
Zinfandel-
it's
Zinfandel's-
limited varietals for sure. So just Syrah.
Speaking of Rossi
Grenache.
Grenache, how is the Oakville Grenache this year?
The Oakville Grenache is the one.
I think
so far.
I think it's a tier. I don't think we've ever had it.
There's a
good.
hipster one that Brian is gonna like.
Oh, this is good.
Brian's gonna sell it all before we even bottle it. I think.
This is good news.
Yeah.
I mean, the way we make these wines is we try to really, really focus on getting as much of the site and the fruit out early on. So all of our extraction happens extremely early on, and the goal is to get all of the aromatic complexity that we can. And then we kind of let it be and infuse, which is the stage at which we're at right now. So I don't have much work to do except taste and wait.
Can we go back to something? I don't know if we talked about when I stepped away. You got your home estate certified regenerative this year.
Yeah.
First of all, mad congratulations.
Thank you.
But we'll
Yeah, no
kinda just talk
shit
about that
as well.
process and what you're doing and what you're seeing in the vineyard from it.
It's definitely a process. So the idea is, I guess, regenerative farming requires kind of a paradigm shift with how you approach things, even from traditional organics, I would say, because definitely the way Phil does organics is beyond, and I see Phil's farming as regenerative personally, especially when you see how much activity and health there is in his soils. So after farming with Phil for 5 years, and after meeting other winemakers or grape farmers that are just growing tremendous grapes. I'm thinking of also like Jason Jardine and Hansel was a huge inspiration as well. There's kind of this idea that there's...
Were you just lamenting that we didn't, all the people that we should have called for this marathon episode we're recording right now? Yeah.
I don't believe there's... I can't imagine farming differently. And that is to say, like, focusing on plant resilience and soil resilience and soil health, more like it, first and foremost.
And we have Mr. Phil Couturi.
Hello?
Is my dad on the line?
Hi, Phil.
Hello?
Hello, Phil.
Hello, John.
You are on our 300th episode. Welcome.
Well, I want to wish you guys a 300-year anniversary.
Oh, thank you. Isabel's with us right now, too.
Hey, Phil.
Hi, Isabel. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Are you finally learning how to make wine from these 300-year-old people?
Finally. I really needed.
You know, Phil, this is feeling like a staged timing that you happen to call when Isabel's on. I don't know. What do you think, Artie? Yeah, Artie agrees.
Artie's there too.
We got Artie here. We
Blair
got
Guthrie.
Blair Guthrie, Emily Rasmussen, who's been Chris Cottrell was here, is going to come back. Tanner was here.
Steve Law.
Casey Graybell.
Sandra Bernstein.
Boy, everybody.
How
comes
long
out
is this
to you guys.
episode going to be?
3 hours.
300 hours.
So you guys haven't had anything to drink yet, have you?
No. Just coffee.
We actually
Okay,
just
good.
opened a 2018 Audio Tet Rosé, and it's killer.
Yeah.
Well, good. It's good to drink rosé at 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
We started recording at 11:30 though, so.
Well, you know, I would say that I'm amazed, but all of you together are pretty much a bunch of blowhards, so you know how to talk a lot. So you did a good job for 300 years.
It's funny, Chris Cottrell kind of said the same thing, but slightly differently.
He was nice about it.
Well, he probably said it more elegantly than I did.
No, I just feel like I got hugged and then slapped.
Welcome. And now you know. My childhood.
Congratulations on doing such a good job, and maybe I'll make it there before you're off the air.
I think you probably will.
Yeah. Thank you, Phil.
You drive
Okay,
fast.
so congratulations. And keep up the good work, Isabel. Make sure you tell them all the good secrets.
Thank you, Phil.
Hey, Phil. Hey, Phil. Think about it. You have all these winemakers, and they're all taking notes when Isabel's talking. I don't know what that's about.
Well, then they have to learn how to read their notes.
Perfect.
And decipher what it says.
Well, hopefully you're going to show up, Phil.
Yeah, well, maybe I will, but congratulations anyway.
Well, we got you.
Thank you.
And thanks so much for all of your help over these last 6 years.
Yeah, and
Phil.
thanks for letting us have the tasting room whenever we need it.
Right.
Well, you know, I like to stop by and just to add the diesel motor sound
as you pull in.
Yeah, thank you.
Perfect.
Right.
All
Sound
right.
effects brought to you by Enterprise Vineyards.
Yeah, our first sponsor, Enterprise Vineyards.
we go.
Perfect.
Our only
Can I send you an invoce? A big
your
one?
first and only sponsor. Yeah.
Thanks, Phil.
I think it's more like an AA
All right.
sponsor.
Well, see you in 300 years.
You got it. Take care. The one and only Phil Couturier. That was great. Perfect timing, Isabel. Great. That's why I took it. So he was calling from a mystery phone for me. You
Well,
know,
yeah, he's
phone,
on the road
so,
today.
Yeah.
But
Perfect.
we were in the middle of talking about Isabel's farming, but I think we're totally derailed.
No, go back. It's a great object or subject.
So I guess if we want to get technical on what is in store for our farming is reducing like cultivation. There's already a few blocks where I'm able to go 100% crimped and no till, which has been really interesting. We're also, so kind of back home is extremely different from here, right? Where basically the land has been farmed for over 2,000 years and there's just crops after crops after crops. So it's diversified, but it's just a lot of flat land with no trees. And so I'm really working on breaking up our blocks into smaller, just smaller units, having hedgerows and planting, insectaries and just starting to kind of rebuild agroecosystems wherever is possible. And the cool part is back home land is not as expensive, as pricey as it is maybe here or as it is in Burgundy or in Bordeaux or in Champagne. And so we have this like insane luxury of being able to quote unquote sacrifice land and give it back to nature. And so we have about 25% of our land is like fallow and is seeded to insectary flat fallow or is meant for grazing. And we work with local shepherds to offer the land up. So we're just really focused on enhancing organic soil carbon, like soil organic carbon, reducing our use of water and pesticides, increasing biodiversity wherever we can. And so that for me is a project of a lifetime. I mean, it's not 5 years of me.
You're
changing
certified,
things.
and then you go on.
No, the certification is you're certified based on your engagements and results.
Right.
So it's just you have to kind of prove along the way that not only you're implementing regenerative practices, but that they're showing results.
I mean, so much could be said about just farming in general, right? Whether it's the world or America, but the idea of giving up land to better the ground, and if you think about these huge farms in the Midwest where it's just rows of whatever it is, corn or soybean, the idea of planting hedgerows or planting trees, which helps cool the land, which means you can use less water, all these things, but it has to be a change in mindset with farmers. And it has to start with things like this.
So there's that, but it won't, when it comes to water use, this is definitely me being taught by Phil, I guess, but we're not just going to succeed by planting trees that are going to mitigate climate or weather kind of locally. I think it's really important that we lower plant density, that we use drought tolerant rootstock and high vigor rootstock. And so the idea is basically have less vines per acre and just have bigger, healthier vines per acre that are not competing with one another, which is kind of a risk in the sense that historically that's what was done, but people had problem with rot and crops being, and being overly cropped. But I kind of have this idea that rot was more of a problem of wetter years and a climate that was definitely very different from now. And now that we're seeing more of an arid climate, I definitely believe in it. I was very inspired by farming here, and I'm coming back with all those ideas.
Well, I appreciate you sort of being this bridge between what we're learning about how to make Grenache and these varietals and what you've learned here and brought back. And, when you start projects like Adutet, that's the idea and the goal. But I love that you're the personification of it and making it real and getting the certification on your family's farm it's a huge thing and you deserve med. Congratulations again.
Well, thank you.
So very much appreciated. It's always so lovely to have you on the show.
It's always so lovely to be invited.
Well, thank you.
Congratulations on 300 episodes. I always try to stay up to date, but there are so many.
They're in the library. Yeah, there are.
I've only listened to half a dozen, so don't worry about it.
So, thank you.
Oh my God!
I'm giving up my seat. I'm going to.
All right,
we're gonna get Blair to come on in and Jeff
and
Bunchu
and we have Kevin Burns waiting on the line. So
Bunchu's I think on a time limit because
I'm
he's
sneaking
always
out.
doing
Hold on, let me get out.
And he's has a few words to say.
Hi, Blair.
Right here. Pass that on. Yeah.
There really is a gallery forming here.
We are. This is
because
very
of our
fluid.
wonderful planning. Coming and going.
Jeff, I got to say something.
Yeah.
22 years ago, on the 2nd of this month,
I'm going to be real quick.
Joan and I got married on the back deck of your place. We didn't
illegally.
They told us just don't say anything, and here's a nice bottle of wine for you guys. But we had
he's texting his hospitality director right now.
4 guests and a minister to tie the knot, and it was the most beautiful thing ever. So thank you. And you were the very first wine club I ever joined. Way back.
That's awfully
way back.
nice. Hi, guys. I appreciate that. I'm parachuting in here because some bird gave me an hour or two notice that it was your 300th episode.
That's so much more planning than we've ever done.
So I'm coming with a prepared statement.
Wow.
And not a lot of time to hang out and talk about
It's funny
it.
that the two people that came with prepared statements
Like,
There's a surprise in store for you, Bart.
oh God.
I'm just looking here at this table of bottles and wish I could hang out, but this is to you, to the winemakers on the occasion of their great 300th episode of this podcast. I have it on good authority that way back when, that the ambition didn't extend much beyond opening a good bottle and sharing it with your friends over some cackling conversations and maybe a little bit of gossip. I'm pretty certain that getting to 30, let alone 300, was not something you would have ever imagined. Well, here we are, and aren't we all the better for it? I can't tell you how much I've learned, laughed, and especially been inspired by the conversations you've had over these last few years. I listen to a lot of podcasts, and my, quote, onboarding process is sort of to listen to 1 or 2 episodes, see if I like the style, and then watch for guests that I'm interested in. With you, it was a little more interesting because I knew you. But over the months and years, I would check and see bigger and bigger names, and I'd be drawn in because of those names. Not only did it make me stoked for you guys, my homies, and very impressed, but like I said, it gave me a chance to learn from some of the biggest luminaries in our industry. Not only about their businesses, which is interesting, but most especially about their personal stories. Wine may be the liquid, but it's the people who are the connective tissue in our beautiful industry. And you've given us access to so many. So back to my podcast process. I mean, Valhalla happens, which is very rare. And that's when you stop just scrolling through shows looking for names you know, and you get to the show that you know you have to listen to because whoever's on there is somebody you need to know. And that's what's happened with you guys after all this time. I'm extremely grateful. Somebody my vintage doesn't get to know that stuff naturally, so you're teaching me every day. And I think there's many of us that feel that way. In keeping with the true scenario, I heard about it recently. Like I said, I didn't have time to bake a cake, put on a costume, or even bring a bottle of wine, so I have to toast you with your own wine or someone else's.
Get him a glass. Get him a glass without it.
You know, but what my toast is to the true, and I really do mean this, the true impact on the collective knowledge that you guys are providing to a great industry. We always say you never know unless you go, and you guys went. And by that, I mean you started, and look where we are today. I love you guys. Cheers.
Cheers, man.
Seriously.
What a pleasure.
Cheers.
Sam.
Thank you, guys. I'm speaking for a lot of people.
Well, it's much appreciated.
Thank you very much. You know,
such a luminary to have here.
Yeah, and you know what? And Jeff is a dear friend. You can't leave quite yet. Jeff is a dear friend, and I think about the show that you've been on, where you came and you told the story post-fire. We were talking about the fire a little bit earlier, and what you shared with everybody was very special. Knowing what you guys went through was amazing. Sharing that was special. You are a great sounding box. Appreciate it. So keep listening. Come back on the show sometime.
Love you guys. Keep it going.
Wow.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thanks. Oh, what a special. That was a real surprise guest, man. That's great. Well, welcome to the 300th episode of The Winemakers. I'm John Myers with Sam Couturi, Bart Hansen, Brian Casey, and just so many other people. I can't even believe it today. It's been amazing. We hadn't planned. We really want to call...
let's go, Kevin.
Kevin.
Let's go,
Kevin
Kevin.
right now.
Come in. We'll talk to Blair while we're cooking.
Oh, absolutely. So, Kevin.
Blair Guthrie.
G'day, mate. How's it going?
Good.
Put these on?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you should. So, welcome. Since the last time you were on, you're a new vineyard owner here in Sonoma Valley.
I am.
So we always want to shout out the Sonoma Valley stuff. Congratulations on...
Thank you.
Like arguably one of the most important vineyards in the valley. I know you're still in it, right?
Yeah.
You still have grapes and taint?
I still got about 10 or 15 tanks to press off, so we're still in it. Great year, though. Excited.
Right?
It
is.
I'm effing tired. But amazing year. Montecillo was amazing. Great year for Montecillo at the vineyard. So, but I keep saying to everybody I talk to, I was like, we didn't make a bad wine this year. Everything from my natty stuff from Lodi for Guthrie all the way through to my high-end Napa Cab for Stewart. We didn't have a bad wine. Rossi Ranch looks phenomenal. I mean, super. We just pressed it a couple days ago.
Sweet.
Looks amazing.
Can't wait to try them.
Oh, I'm super happy. It's like co-ferment. So we did the Grenache Syrah Mourvedre co-ferment. Looks awesome.
That sounds good.
What's your approximate ratio?
It's about.
I wasn't there that day that you got picked out, so I didn't.
It's like 60% Grenache, and the rest is split Mourvedre. Here, I can pull it up. I got this fancy software now. It's great.
And that'll be on.
This will be for Stewart Cellars.
For Stewart Cellars.
Yeah, so we do a Rossi Ranch GSM for Stewart Cellars.
So what's your software you're playing with?
Innovent. It's just winemaking software, so I can pull up.
Use this, Bart?
No, I use a book that I write in. Mike, you know what? My record keeping I learned from Mike Lee, and I write it in a book. And if the book ever gets lost, I'm in TTB.
And done, you're done, huh?
Invent's amazing.
I've now converted it to the computer, but I do write everything in my book.
Yeah.
So.
You're still going to have the pad in your back pocket. Yeah. We're at 52% Grenache, 33% Syrah, and 15 Mourvedre.
Cool.
Yeah. So, and we did the Syrah whole cluster. So we foot stomped the Syrah in bins. We de-stem a little bit of the Grenache in the bottom of the tank. Then we pour the Syrah on, and then we de-stem the rest of the Grenache and Mourvedre on top.
Cool.
So, yeah. But it looks, I mean, it's motor oil this year, you know?
Yeah.
It looks awesome. So we're excited.
Yeah, it's you know, we've been talking about this with all the other winemakers. Basically, you know, 2/3 of your everything came in about a 3-week.
Yeah.
Like everybody else.
Yeah.
And how many? Every tank full, and then a bunch of T-bins.
Every tank was full. I mean, that was again. I mean, it was the last couple of years. I feel like I've been like this, right? It's kind of there's the logistics of getting your fruit picked, and then I'm at custom crush facilities,
right.
So then there's the logistics of getting it across the crush line, getting it in the tank. I mean, there was definitely a couple of lots this year where we de-stemmed them into bins, put them in the cold room overnight, and went into a tank the following day because there was just no tank.
Yeah.
But
and then also being told when you have to be out of a tank is can that be a problem?
Yeah, I'm lucky. You know, I'm such a nice guy, Bart.
Right.
Yeah. They give me a little leeway.
Do they ever slam you like that and say, "Yeah, have to be out tomorrow"?
You know, they do. I'm lucky that I make so many different lots and so much wine that I can kind of prioritize. So if there's, you know, everything's important, but I definitely have lots that are not as important as others. I'll be like, look, we can press this one off, but you got to give me an extra 10 days on this tank or something like that.
Yeah,
so
cool.
And most, to be honest, I'm cab heavy. Stewart Cellars is obviously the vast majority of what I do, and it's cab heavy. So, you know, I'm still in those tanks. It's day 35, and I'm in tanks still. So
Where's your cab come from?
That's awesome.
we're all over the place, but predominantly Napa Valley. And then now that we have Montecillo Vineyard on Moon Mountain, we're pulling cab from Montecillo. So
that'll be a Stewart Cellars.
Yeah, that'll be for Stewart. Yeah. So we'll put in. So at Montecillo, we have the heritage block that was planted in the early '60s. That'll go to what we call our Nomad series, which is our Stewart Nomad. Okay. And then we pulled some other cab from the lower blocks that were planted later on. They'll go in just the Stewart Cellars Moon Mountain cab or Montecillo cab. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah,
it's a little loud out there.
I know we're gathering a crowd.
Yeah. Yes, we are.
Everyone's here.
Everybody, the people who were on the show earlier haven't left.
And
people
Kevin Burns is on a business call and doesn't.
No, he's got to make money so he can keep buying our wine.
Absolutely, that's the idea.
So Kevin,
isn't it?
thanks for not answering. We appreciate it.
Well, we've got everybody coming up, so it's lots of fun.
But awesome. I mean, 300 episodes, guys.
Oh. Well, thank you, Blair.
It's no joke, right?
Thanks, Blair.
It's
Totally
no joke.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
What car did you drive here today?
A Ford F-250. What's that?
Yeah.
Come on. What's wrong with that?
Well, the.
Oh, you want the El Camino?
I wanted the El Camino. Right.
I didn't bring because Bart texted me and was like, "Hey man, are you coming by?"
What year?
So I'm like hustling out of the winery. I'm in my truck. Right. Otherwise, I would have bought the El Camino. We would have done some burnouts.
All right, perfect.
For the 300th.
Yeah,
episode.
definitely.
I mean, the greatest. You shared it on the podcast. Like, where did you get the El Camino? And you told me that you won it in a raffle. $100. $100. Win a
Camino.
Raffle. I mean, every time I see you driving an
I'm actually doing a raffle right now.
More raffles.
Yeah, I'm entered one right now for a 1960s chopper. Original paint. A raffle, $100. I just paid.
Just what you need too.
Yeah.
And what year is the El Camino?
71.
Nice.
Yeah. So
Classic.
I hang out with a lot of nefarious people that like to fix up old cars and old motorcycles.
Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah, and tattoo people's skins. So
that's all okay.
We'll blare.
It's a good blend, right, between wine and
Yeah, it's a high low. It's a high low pairing.
High low.
Where's Chris Cottrell? It's a high low pairing.
Yeah, it's perfect.
I think he's in.
Who's coming back?
He's had,
Hey.
No, he brought tacos.
that's why
Well, we
there's
got pizza.
Open the champagne.
noisy out there. We got pizza. We got tacos.
Where's the pizza?
The pizza's here.
Oh, okay.
They said someone has to go pick it up.
Oh, yeah, I thought somebody was.
I thought.
Actually, would have swung by on my way.
It's all right.
We live in Sonoma. It's like a mile away, I'm sure.
No, it's at the Red Grape. It's a block away.
4 blocks away. Oh, Chris.
Oh, we got.
Oh, God.
Oh my
Has
god.
anyone ever had
We know.
Are these Cheetos?
Takis?
You know what? We know exactly
Takis.
where you went, Chris.
Oh my god.
Have you ever had a taki?
Of course. I have a 16-year-old.
Only with Burgundy.
I want.
Where's the Dujac? We got purple Takis.
I just wanted to welcome Robin Sebastiani to the microphone for a little bit. Robin is the new executive director for the Sonoma Valley Vintners and Growers.
Hi, Robin. Welcome and congratulations. You can put them on or you can't.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
At any rate, we wanted to just welcome you officially. In the past, we've had the heads of the Sonoma Valley Vintners and Growers a couple times. One of them didn't last very long.
Did she last until the show came out? I can't even remember.
But we have a feeling that Robin's going to be around for a while.
I hope so.
We're just coming off of the Vintage Festival, which was a huge
blast.
success and a blast.
Yeah.
And we can't wait for.
And it
next
even
year.
rained.
Right.
It was like it was like a great Sonoma.
I know, right? And then the skies opened up, and then the wine was poured.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
It was awesome.
it was perfect.
And I got 2 words. Tractor parade. I'm so stoked.
Are you?
Yeah, I think we're gonna try and figure out how to get one of the Monarch out there.
We are welcome to
Mm.
all vehicles. It does
Yep.
not need to be a tractor, so don't.
And
be
an El Camino.
intimidated.
Could be an El Camino.
It could or a
71
chopper
No.
if you win the chopper. I
Yeah.
mean, maybe we need to have a raffle.
Put the
for a vehicle
16600
moving
crew in the
forward.
back of the El Camino, and we can drive that.
Here we go.
I
Can
like
we put
that
Phil in
idea.
the back of the El Camino?
We got tie-dye t-shirts and all.
Okay, let's do it.
So the suggestion is that you definitely use like 10 strands of lights,
Okay.
get that thing lit up, and come out for some fun. That the tractor parade starts at 6 p.m. and then a sip
It's
and
on
shop leading up to
December
Saturday,
2nd.
December 2nd at 6 p.m. So
And a sip and shop. So they're encouraging wineries are going to be in retail stores, pouring tastes.
Cool.
yeah,
This is a big party.
it is. I know. So
That's
you can
great.
Yeah,
get a cup and
you know
shop local.
The parade from the Vintage Festival kind of went away with all the other events going on, and I think it's more appropriate for a holiday tractor parade anyway, and keeping up with the Joneses of those other places.
Right.
And now I'm excited.
Sonoma style.
It's Sonoma style. I think it'll become our end of harvest celebration, if you will.
Yeah. Just good.
Just drive the tractors around.
What are you driving?
You know, I think someone has to run the whole thing. So I have a
Oh,
feeling...
you gotta be in the
You're not going to drive.
Claus position. You gotta be in the final float, waving at everybody.
Right? Oh, do we need a Santa?
I don't know. I'm not volunteering.
Yeah.
All right.
I
it's in
did
the
Santa
suggestion
back in
box.
Chicago for like 15
So
years
did
for,
you just
for kids.
volunteer?
I was saying, careful, John.
I don't have the suit anymore.
Okay, so I just have to find
Does
you
it
a suit.
fit? Does it still fit?
Okay.
It's
I can
gone.
do
I
hard
donated
things.
it
Yeah,
back.
yeah.
Right.
I love it.
I did buy the good
Pretty
one,
resourceful,
Blair.
John. Be careful what you.
Velvet.
volunteer.
Real velvet.
I had the really good beard and the nice suit, and,
Yeah.
you know, the black boots and all that.
No polyester.
Yeah, I was
Tractor Parade
totally
Grand
into
Marshal
it.
John Santa Claus Myers.
There you
Oh my gosh, we needed one. We didn't even realize we did.
I don't think so this
It'll be
year.
perfect. It'll be a fun Saturday evening on the plaza for you.
And when is this?
Saturday, December 2nd. So Sip and Shop starts at 3 p.m. You can sign up and get a cup and come walk around and visit all the vintners and then finish with the tractor parade at 6 p.m.
You know, it's interesting. I wanted to say something about your area over by Sebastiani. You built all those beautiful mid-century modern homes for the workers, right? Up and down 4th
Yeah, the
Street.
cottages, yep.
Yeah, absolutely. When we first decided to move here and came out and rented, yours was the first place on the corner, the brown cottage.
Oh yeah.
The brick cottage.
Yeah.
That's the first place we rented. We were there for 6 months during the winter. I mean, I got out of Chicago winters, and that's where
Yeah,
we
sold.
went, and loved it, and lived right across from the winery, and it was wonderful.
I think
what
it's
a
now
nice
called Cuneo
neighborhood
Cottage.
too, man.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, darling little street.
Yeah. It's beautiful. I love it.
Awesome.
Mhm.
Well, thank you for coming.
Thanks for having
Yeah.
me. Yeah.
Hang
congrats,
out,
you guys.
hang out.
I'm gonna let someone else get in here, but I just want to say, hey guys, awesome job. 300 episodes is no joke.
Right.
I always say to everyone who can have some sort of success in the wine industry, like you should pat yourself on the back because nothing in the wine industry is easy. Selling wine, making wine, growing a vineyard, doing a podcast, doesn't matter what it's freaking hard. So, good job.
Thank you.
Pat yourself on the back because we don't do it often enough.
Right. Well, I mean,
So,
you're an example of why we do it because there's all these producers that are small and they got stories to tell and they got knowledge to drop.
In fact, I can't remember one of the responses to my questions were people who make Cabernet as their day job, who make cool varietals on the side. So I think Blair definitely fits that.
So,
but yeah, good job.
Cool. Thank
Awesome
you very
guys.
much. Cheers.
Thank you, Blair Guthrie. Much appreciated. Robin Sebastiani, congratulations. And
Emily still here?
you know
Emily,
what?
is Emily still here?
Hang on one second. I'm going to push the break, and we will be right back.
Oh, okay.
It's the Mark Maron, the old school What the Fuck podcast, where you'd like walk into his house, and you'd be recording all day.
And we are back.
And there's a party going on in the other room because
I was gonna say,
in true winemakers podcast style, all the people who've been here, none of them have left.
yes, I just came off of 5 hours of continuing ed for my qualified applicator's license, so normally don't get a glass of champagne after that, so quite nice.
There we go.
Hi, bud. You're
A
in.
little quieter now.
All right.
Wait, so
Brian joined us.
you have the
We had
QAL
lunch,
for your-
everybody. That's the idea.
Oh yeah, all of Sunbreak
everybody
and all of Bedrock Vineyard operations operates off of my QAL. So if I don't have that, we're kind of hosed.
Send Casey for that.
Jake has his PCA,
Okay.
but it's all a function of
Your
who's
QAL.
Yeah, they
Well, I
prefer
should-
that my license be the one on Agrian and Ag Code.
I really need to actually
If something
introduce
goes
you.
wrong, it's your fault.
Exactly.
Even though everybody who listens probably
Yeah, who-
knows you,
who
of
is
course,
this?
it's Morgan Twain Peterson.
Oh,
And
hello,
what has he ever
everybody.
done?
Pardon?
Tolerated Sam Kateri in fourth
Wait a
grade.
minute.
Since fourth grade.
Is that how long you're
garden, man?
True. So long ago, I can't even count.
I guess it was first grade.
Yeah.
It was at what was that place? Sonoma
Vintage Country Day School.
Day School.
Yeah.
At the community center.
One of the early iterations of Montessori in Sonoma.
Yeah, early iterations of our hippie parents started a school, so let's
Exactly.
see what happens.
So-
And
Qualified educators, all of them.
Exactly.
Well, welcome.
Thank you.
And thank you.
Congratulations to you guys. Happy 300.
Very much appreciated.
I think this is, my third time on, so, I can say that I'm now like, what, 1%?
You're the 1%.
1%. Well, the last time I saw you, it was actually probably out at the Rhone Room tasting.
You weren't here when they came back.
The last time I was here was on the back porch.
Yeah, but I wasn't.
You were out.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
yeah,
really,
yeah,
the
that's
last
right.
time
over at the Rhone
was
Room.
the first time we
Oh,
went
right,
like
right.
2
Wow.
hours
Yeah.
on a show or something.
That
like
was nothing more than organized chaos because we were all laughing at our own jokes.
I've never done.
What is this now?
Well, that's
I've never.
well, as your business partner said, I mean, he made it very, very clear exactly what this is now. So, but you'll have to hear that.
This is a great place to promo the Bedrock Conversations. I think is what Chris said.
That's on brand. So.
Well, Morgan, your podcasts are pretty much the opposite of ours.
Buttoned up, stead,
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, and
dry.
Coherent.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nobody
Focus.
interrupts each other.
Sober.
I feel like there's a place for both. There's like 5 wine podcasts total in the world, it feels like. So.
And we're top 5.
Yeah, exactly.
We're all-
So, I feel like there's still many places, many spaces we can all inhabit. But
well, we started out, and it was our original tagline was demystifying wine every Friday, and we do that, but we've developed another brand that really comes off of Sam, and of course Bart and Brian. You know, it's such a great combination.
Demystifying wine through mystifying personalities.
We never wanted to be wine spectator. It was not.
Yeah,
it was not a. Oh, notes of fresh pencil shaving.
I'm 99 points on that.
Yeah. And even if we wanted to, we could not have been.
Right.
Oh, we've had so many interesting guests over the last 6 years. It's amazing.
No, I mean, I think what's so cool about this, and obviously, you know, our podcast is a bit more like we just have fewer guests and everything else, and Chris does tons of research for them. But like
research, that's a difference.
Thing, right? But you know what? But what that precludes, though, is the fact that you guys have had so many interesting personalities on, including a lot of people that are like really up and coming. Like, there's been a lot of people that have been on that, you know, literally like nobody has ever heard of, and this is like their first, you know, spot where they can like one of the first venues that they can kind of get out and broadcast. Yeah, exactly. So, but I mean, you know, like even like early on, like Jennifer Reichardt. I mean, like there's just like been a lot of people that have been on, which I think is really great. I mean, it gives an additional platform and a really like friendly setting for people. Like it's not hard to feel comfortable with all of you guys. So, you know, and that in and of itself is a really important thing. I mean, I remember the first time I did, like when I went and did like Levy Dalton, like
that must have been terrifying.
I'm like not super intimidated when it comes to talking about wine. And I just walked into his little apartment in the Upper East Side, took my shoes off, and was like, I am a little freaked out right now. So, and
the Winemakers podcast, less scary than Levy Dalton.
Yeah, exactly. So it was less. I mean, and like I was very happy with how it went, but like that was like, you know, that's not a not intimidating forum to like respond to. So,
well, what I love about your show is the vast amount of history and knowledge that is shared, and then when you go deep on farming.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I know sometimes Chris always has some sarcastic comment about that when it starts to happen.
Yeah.
But I mean, for someone that is very much learning about farming, I truly do enjoy that. And especially when you were with another grower, obviously.
Yeah, no, I feel like, you know, it's hard to cover up the fact that that's really what we're very passionate about. And like, it's been really cool that we've had people like Jason Jardine on, and as you guys have had as well, but
two
just
totally
like,
different shows.
Totally, exactly, but like really going like deep into, you know, regen farming and all the on the new way stuffs like that. So, very happy when we can do it. So yeah, no, it's fun to talk about. Pat was great.
Pat's first
yeah.
name? Yeah. That was an awesome show. Just like the history there and
like truly the voice, the face, the mustache that exemplifies Cienega Valley, and this little window of almost like it like I feel like Cienega Valley sometimes feels like you know, those situations like anthropologically where they like discover a group of people or a culture that nobody knew existed to the rest of the world, and it's like the first time like Western eyes have have looked at something. Like I feel like sometimes with Pat, like that's how we feel about Cienega Valley. We're like, whoa, this is here. Tell us about the Cab Pfeffer. What is going on?
I still don't believe in Cab Pfeffer. I'm not sure. I'm not sold on.
I saw it on Instagram, so it must be a thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
That's the only place I've ever seen it. So one of the things, much of our success, if you can call it that, can be back to what I call Bedrock You. All the different, you know, cool projects that you've sort of incubated in your winery with the, you know, cool people that you've hired and worked with over the years.
Yeah.
So I totally appreciate that. What's next? Who's doing something in there that you can tease a little bit that hasn't hit the world yet? I know Casey's making a wine. What's exciting you about the?
She hasn't been on yet, has she?
She has not been on yet.
Well, that was going to be what I teased. But,
Okay.
That I'm actually really excited about because, you know, obviously Cody has Desire Lines and Katie has.
Cody's like he's the
Cody's
valedictorian of Bedrock.
Cody's like establishment at this point.
Totally.
Cody. So Desire Lines. Katie has Bird Horse. Jake obviously has the Solaris de Pacifica. The Sherry Project. Reed Griggs just released.
Sold out.
2 hours. Sold out. Tidings, which is like.
Did he make 7 bottles? What is he doing? How did he do that?
7 barrels, so close. Maybe even less than that.
I into the DM last night and was like, "What the fuck?
Yeah.
I need some of that cab. I
Yeah.
missed out on the offering."
He got some of like the McDonald pixie dust on there,
Yeah,
and then it just all went
Did he
away.
respond, Brian? No response.
No.
Oh, you got a bottle?
So he said, "I definitely have some in the library that I'm willing to share."
That sounds like he is also. Still, I think, adjusting to his new day job as
Yeah, he's
the
got a real job.
winemaker at Stony Hill. So I think that's all been a transition for him. I mean, then we like Luke with Philomena. That's really exciting. They just welcomed a little daughter into the world.
Congrats to
always
Luke and
nice to
Sam,
have a girl in the Bedrock crew of little boys that is running around wreaking havoc on the world right now. So.
Cal, Jacob, Cal, Drew, and JP.
Yeah, so thankfully we've got Althea, and then we also have in Reed's daughter, River. So finally some balancing is going on.
So you can balance out these harvest parties.
Yeah, exactly. So
is it true that you made your first wine at age 4?
5.
5.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, it is true.
Well, then
So-
we found out something else.
But what I was going to say, just also what I'm excited about with Casey's project is she started making wine this year. She's the very first of all of those people that wants to make Zinfandel. So it's like we like Chris and I like really take mentorship seriously, but at the same time we're like, what the fuck?
You're like, Sherry, really, Jake?
Riesling,
We have-
Verdelho, like floor aged Palomino from Evangeline. Oh, man.
We have the oldest grapevines on the planet, and you're making sherry with them? What are you doing?
I was just saying that I'm very proud that we finally have an employee making Zinfandel for once, rather than like Verdelho. So God forbid. So exactly.
Hey,
Mr.
Phil showed up. So
Sit
we'll,
down.
we'll get
We've been joined by
the Godfather.
Well, it's funny because my dad also calls himself a
course.
Godfather, so it's like
Yeah.
at some point you hit like I think an age level, and then everybody just becomes
you're old enough to be a Godfather?
status. So.
What's your father's last name? Does it end in an I or an O?
What's Godfather in Swedish?
The Swedish Godfather.
The Swedish Godfather.
Both great meatballs.
What's it called? The Swedish meatball.
Are you talking about Phil and Joel are both great meatballs?
Well, that too.
I did actually. One of my favorite pictures I took this harvest. I think I sent it to you and Chris. Was I was leaving Magnolia one day.
I was trying to find the text for the timing of this, and it's just the shot of the back of my dad in like shorts with like grapes.
Shorts are generous.
Yes, fair. So.
Pretty sure it was his boxers. He had just been doing some piage, right?
Yep.
And
no, I think he just dug out a redwood tank.
Oh, is that what?
Which at 76, I give him credit for, but yeah.
And it was one of those cold harvest days.
Yeah.
And I think he had like found the beam of sun making its way through our warehouse corridors, you know?
Yeah. You know, I'm very proud of the fact that my dad is like, you know, in such good shape and like digs out his own tanks. But at the same time, it definitely makes for like an awkward early harvest conversation with the incoming interns to be like, at some point you will see Joel Peterson in boxers digging out a tank, and he may or may not be shirtless. So.
And no photos allowed. Right?
Yeah, exactly. And keep these off social media.
And no eye contact.
Yeah. Right. So, and direct complaints to Joel at onceandfuturewines.com.
Mountaincabernet@gmail.com.
You know, it must have been interesting breaking away from Ravenswood and doing Bedrock by yourself.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and I think you could say the same thing for Dad doing Once in Future as well.
So what the hell ever happened to Ravenswood?
It's sold.
So what is it doing now?
I mean, it's owned by Gallo.
Is it in the market? Are they producing anything? Is it in the market?
No longer being used.
I don't think so. I mean, there might be some machinations. I'm not quite sure what's going on with it because they bought it as part of that whole thing that was also caught up in antitrust for
And Ravenswood was a wine that you could go to a drugstore, a grocery store, anywhere.
Yeah.
And you could buy it and know the wine and know it was good.
Yeah.
And that was beautiful. Why do you buy something and destroy it?
I mean, because people go and get MBAs, and it's all about brand.
That's how you eliminate. That's how you eliminate the competition.
Yeah. Well, there's also that. I mean, the Zinfandel market pot is limited, particularly in like that price point. So I mean, like
get rid of it, and makes it easier for. What
yeah,
they want.
that could be some of it for sure. I mean, I definitely learned about how available it was by the time I was a senior in high school. I was at
Shout out Justin Sienna.
Shout out Justin Sienna. I was at Uptown Theater when they were still playing like old movies before it was bought by Jam Sellers.
Right,
and now
right,
it's
right.
just all music. And we were watching Clockwork Orange, and I was like on a date with my best friend, my girlfriend at the time, and like literally we're just like sitting in the back, and other people our age just turns around and hands me a bottle of Ravenswood Vintners Blend, and I'm like, so this is where the brand is now.
And Bedrock Wine Co. was born, at least intellectually that day.
I mean, in some ways, though, like as sort of painful and hard as it was for the Ravenswood sale to happen, I mean, my dad was the only person on the board to vote against that sale. They were publicly traded on NASDAQ at the time, though. And he stayed with the company for 17 years after it. In some ways, though, it actually like created a situation where I wasn't having to think about coming back into an established winery with 50 employees and being like the young kid coming up with my ideas and having to navigate those waters. In fact, I'm not sure if I would have come back to that. I would have maybe done something else.
So you'd have 7 books, and you'd be teaching at Columbia.
Pretty much, and probably miserable.
Living in a tiny apartment.
Yep.
Right? Sometimes getting Levy Dalton's scraps left over from his shows.
Drinking Ravenswood from 7-Eleven.
Why not?
But I mean, like it just, that in and of itself is a bit of a, we were able to kind of reform a project and recreate a project in a way that sort of was much more a mirror of myself and Chris than having to like navigate a family-owned business in some ways.
Do you think, looking back at it, that they would have sold at this point in time? When Ravenswood was bought up by Constellation, and your dad stayed there for 17 years.
Yeah,
there was still it was still Ravenswood. There was still the quarry was going on, all the same employees.
Yeah,
and then it came into that era of consolidation. Mm-hmm. Gallo consolidation, lack of a better term, buying out the competition. Yeah, who knows what the master plan is?
Yeah,
and I think that there's a dream in making a winery. Look at what Ridge did.
Yeah.
Who when Ridge sold, everybody was in a shock.
Right.
But they never changed.
Right.
But when Ravenswood sold, they blew it up.
Yep.
But then was sold again.
Yep.
And so, what was the vision? Who knows what the vision would have been at this point in time?
It's very true. I mean, and I think that's the biggest difference between a publicly traded company acquiring something and a privately traded company acquiring some. I mean, the moment you're publicly traded, you're looking at quarterly earnings and everything else. While as privately traded company, and it's the reason why Gallo and KJ and other privately traded companies are just eating everybody's lunch right now, is that they can actually forecast 10, 15, 20 years out. They're like, oh, the economy is such that we should probably be like, land values are undervalued right now. Let's snatch those up because those are going to be like useful 10, 15 years down the line, or else we're going to have assets. That's just not the way that you're thinking if you're like in a publicly traded company.
Could you imagine running even a big winery on like a quarterly basis? I think about that all the time with, like fintech people moving up and trying to buy a winery and live that life. Like, you can't do this business on a quarterly basis.
No. Well,
right?
what would it have been like?
This harvest lasted 2 quarters.
The quarters are a lot different. There's no such thing as a quarter.
Yeah, the quarters.
But if you think about
decades.
it, with Dick Graff and the Chalone Group.
Yeah.
They were one of the first wineries to go public.
Yeah.
And you see how it sort of fell apart 10, 15 years after that.
Yeah.
But it was, all of a sudden it was a dream. You had the idea was to have all these really good wineries under this corporate veil,
right,
and have them be autonomous, have them have their own brand and their own, and just be marketed.
Right.
But then it just became a market.
Right. Exactly. And I mean, I think that I was talking, so Willamette Valley Vineyards is publicly traded, and I was talking to somebody who works there this week when I was in St. Louis. And they're like, you know, the one thing is like the one benefit is that you have all these stockholders that are now ambassadors for the winery. And so they're like going out. But of course that can get like way over the top when you've got like somebody that owns like 5 shares of stock going into a, you know, harassing a sommelier being like, why don't you have this wine? I'm an owner. And it's sort of like, so it's like you also sort of don't have a lot of control over the narrative and everything else. So
I also kind of wonder what would have happened to Ravenswood had Joel not stuck around. Like if he would have just said, great, I'm out of here.
The number of times he put his body on the rails in front of some insane marketing idea at Constellation. And he also at some point just became like the only institutional memory that was left, because at some point you work through so many employees, through so many marketing divisions and people coming in and different VPs and everything else, that people completely forget what was done just 5 years ago. And so Dad was literally just became the cranky dude in the room, just being like, yeah, you tried this, it didn't work. And like nobody else like could even remember at that point.
Do you recall 17 years of the worst? One of the worst situations that they suggested that he.
I mean, the main thing was
just.
I mean, the worst thing that they did overall is just the constant devaluation of the brand, which of course meant that, you know, the one thing that Ravenswood really did is that, you know, Dad and Justin Fagioli and Reed, the people that were there, like they wrote really grower friendly contracts with like, you know, price escalation and risers and them doing stuff like that. And as a result, they had this incredibly devoted group of people that grew grapes for them. And the moment you go into like you're shredding margin, you know, thinning it out as fast as you can, like you immediately erode all of those relationships. And, you know, and then also you're like, you know, they own Constellation owned Franciscan as well. So like, oh man, Franciscan, they accidentally planted 10 acres of Zinfandel on like the heavy soils of Napa. Like it's crummy Zinfandel, but guess who's taking it now? It's going to be Ravenswood, you know? So it's just sort of like, there's always going to be like this dilution of the brand and a dilution of the quality that goes on. So I mean, there's just like it's like a million micro cuts, right? Like there's just like a bunch of stuff that happens, and then all of a sudden you're kind of like you don't even realize that you're kind of in quicksand, but you are, and then all of a sudden you look up and the brand is, you know, being sold for $7.99 at, you know, Quick Stop. So.
How did you choose the name Bedrock?
It's a really good question. As we all know, finding names for wines are hard. Witness addresses are being used.
Yes. I just wanted to make sure everybody knew how to get home.
Right, exactly.
I wanted to make sure I knew where it was.
Right, exactly. No, it's a geological term, and we work with a lot of old vines. So typically, old vines' roots are going to go until they hit hard pan or.
It had nothing to do with Fred?
Nothing to do with Fred. And it's funny
Or
because,
Wilma?
like, that is. I used to be so annoyed by that. I realized it's so.
I thought it was great.
It's so your generation, but at the same time,
My generation.
But at the same time, like it also is like something that allows people to remember. It's okay for my generation. It's the Young Money, "We Gonna Make Your Bedrock" song that everybody remembers. So I'm not sure if that's any better. But at the same time, yeah, it's yeah.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. But that's the main thing. So.
Roots down to the bedrock. Let's try and bring that one around.
Yeah, exactly.
I do have to leave.
All right.
300 episodes. That's great.
Thank you, Phil.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
And it took 300 episodes for us to get together.
I know exactly. Somehow we were just always passing, you know, in the night.
Yeah.
So
Good to see everybody.
Great seeing you, Phil.
See you, Pops.
You done?
Yep. Yeah. I've been done since I started.
You want to call MJ?
Let's call MJ.
All right.
Let's call
All
MJ,
right.
and then they put on headphones and stick around, and you can listen to MJ.
All right, he is waiting for us, hopefully. Yeah. Well, a little off schedule for our 300th episode of Winemakers. Oh, come on, MJ, answer the phone.
Of course.
He's, well, you know, he's got his own thing going on. It is New York.
Hello.
Hey, MJ.
He's not in New
What up,
York.
what up?
Ciao, Bella. Ciao.
Hi, MJ.
Oh, what's going on?
How you doing, brother? What are you eating for dinner there?
Dinner time in New Jersey? Pretty close.
Well, we just.
You guys, he's in Italy.
We just finished.
That's right. You're in like
I'm in
Belgium.
Trento.
You're in Italy.
I'm in Trento.
Wow.
I'm in Trento, which is in Italy.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is well,
I'm in Trento.
One day you're interviewing Chris Cottrell for a podcast, and the next day you're in Trento. It's a good life.
talking to Morgan
that's
Peterson
why.
sitting in Sonoma.
Well, Hey, everybody, it's your boy MJ. That's how I fucking roll. Y'all know.
So what is for dinner?
Okay, so what did we start off? We had like 4 amuse-bouche. What was I can't remember, a lot of wine. But I would say the main course was the third course was a veal cheek. It was some crazy veal cheek with beet powder and oh my god! And we had I'm at Ferrari Trento DLC.
Mm-hmm.
They also have a property down, so they have a property in Tuscany, and they also wherever they grow Sagrantino. Morgan would know because he's a master of wine. I don't know wherever that's part, but.
Italy was literally my kryptonite on the MW. So if the exam had been had a Garganega on it, I would have failed so hard. So.
But this veal cheek, man, it like melted in your mouth, and their Sangio is like, for me, it's California Sangio. It's a softer style. It's not acidic. It was beautiful wine. It was fruit forward, but it had great structure. And then just now we had like a tobacco leaf smoked with like some type of mousse, and then some bourbon flavored ice cream, and it's a Michelin 3-star restaurant. Someplace I couldn't go unless I had a podcast. So life's good.
And somebody else was paying, right?
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, I could go to a restaurant. Right. They say you can't get in. Right. Can we help you? Be like fucking Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Sorry, sir, we're not hiring right now.
Like, I weep for the future. Yeah, exactly.
So MJ, are you
looking around the back?
Are you doing a show over there? Are you?
I interviewed Lisa Ferrari Brown while I was over here. I interviewed Lisa Ferrari Brown while I was here, and then I did throw together. Because next week's Thanksgiving, and I have a few in the can, but I figured I'll just throw this live from fucking wine to wine out there, so I can just enjoy next week and not have to edit anything. So well, you guys don't know how it goes because you got John. You have to see a rep and you just talk shit, get drunk.
We don't even know how to spell edit.
Well, I'm glad you're enjoying your vacation.
300 episodes, man. You guys are real G's, man. Real G's, man. For real.
It only, what keeps it going is getting to connect to all these people. You obviously you couldn't see it, but the tasting house has been just like Grand Central Station for the last 3 hours. People coming and going, and people on the phone, and but it's all because of folks like you, people that we met through social media or through whatever, and now we're friends and we're on each other's shows. And Morgan's here, Chris was here earlier. It's been rad.
Yeah. Morgan, you're next.
Chris is still
you know what I love? I've been following Morgan since I got on Instagram. He finally fucking followed me once I put Chris on the podcast. I finally merited it.
God damn, he noticed.
Finally worthy. You know with social media, you feel that shit. You're like, why didn't you follow me back?
This just shows exactly how clueless I am on social media. Also, the pod that you did with Chris was amazing, though. Really, you got the best out of my boy, which is a wonderful thing to hear.
I imagine there was probably things you learned about him listening to that show, because I like just listening to. I mean, I've talked to Chris. We've had him on the show. You brought out stuff that I knew was there, but I didn't know how it got there. So that was cool. That was awesome. Fun one to listen to.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. Yeah. Fuck, man.
We also talked about how fucking terrifying and sweaty it was in your podcast studio, because I just sweat. It was the lights. It was the New York hustle. I was late. The whole thing. It was like the hot seat.
You were late?
Of course I was late. It was the hot seat. You got the hot seat. I think our seats are cooler here in Sonoma.
I think us Sonoma boys just naturally run warm, and then you throw us into some there's low-level humidity, and it's just it's just gross.
Get me back to California in September.
Well, it's that coastal influence. I got that Hudson River influence. It's not the same, man. There's not a big diurnal shift coming through the Hudson River or that studio.
Right. So, definitely not.
And you came in September. The landlord might have turned the air conditioner off. That's how it is in New York, man.
Right, fair enough. Yeah, exactly. Turned it off on Labor Day.
It's totally like summer's over.
Well, when are you back, and what's your next show about? Who's your guest?
Well, When am I back? That's a good question. I don't know when I'm back. I got to get back there, but I have the next. So I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to drop this bonus episode. Christoph Baron. Hello. You must put stems in your wine and only be 12% alcohol. Was kind of the gist of that conversation.
So that one's in the can?
With Christoph, though.
Okay.
That's already in the can. So Christoph will be 2 weeks, yeah.
All right.
And then I was out in Walla Walla for the first
wine's
thing.
Your only be 12% alcohol and 4.4 pH.
Yeah, exactly.
That's you know.
What'd you say
I don't
about
make wine, but I think.
Will you tell us a little about Grenache study?
Yeah.
So the Grenache Fest is sort of like evolving, and I know about this because I listened to the podcast. But give it a plug while we got you.
I appreciate it. So you go way back to season 2, had a guest on, Robert Gentise. Robert Gentise is like the most interesting man in the world.
A vampire.
You know, like the largest collector of German wines in America, but he's friends with fucking Mad Lib and shit like that. You know, Egon, who worked at Stone's Throw, like, you know, but he's a Riesling freak. So he started a thing called Riesling Study, right? And I'm thinking, and really what it is, it's what we do, right? So it's kind of like what we did April Fool's Day. It's like we're gonna talk about wine, but we're gonna have a party and make some music go around. You know what I mean? So I'm like, okay, we did Grenache Fest. It was amazing. We had Malcolmus from Pavement, really good time. You know, 90-minute seminar. So I got the idea for Grenache Study. So it's just, you know, next year it's going to be going around different cities. We go through a Grenache Study. We get a restaurant that lets us BYOB. And why I love Grenache Study is because I love Riesling, but listen, we got Grenache Blanc, we got Grenache Gris, and we got Grenache. And we got Grenache, right? So you get a full run of wines, white, red, rosé. And you know, go through BYOB. Yeah. And then Bagnoles, right? And we're just going to drink some Grenache, share it with each other. And I think the idea is probably going to be to build up to the next Grenache Fest, which, you know, obviously you can always do, but like, you know, I wanted to go do in Sonoma. I met this cat out here in Trento, no, actually it's in Verona, who makes a CDP with Ann Charlotte, right? Which is kind of dope, right? And I'm like, I'm going to do one in Houston. He lives in Houston. I will do them in New York. We can do them all over. So I'm just getting people on the list. And, you know, if you want to have a Grenache Study, you just reach out to me, and we get out. I come out there, and we find a restaurant, and we just ball out, talk about the greatest grape in the world, which is Grenache, aka Grenache, and just really bring more fun and lightness to this thing.
I'm sitting here looking at Morgan. He goes, "Yeah, it's a good variety, but it accumulates sugar too quickly."
Yeah, exactly.
You literally took the thought out of my mind. So.
That's because I listened to your podcast.
No, I love Grenache.
But have you noticed Chris deftly and then acted like it was an accident brought the only 15% alcohol wine you've ever made to his episode with MJ?
No, I know, right? Chris, Grenache dominant. Yeah, he didn't even know. I was like, dude, is this right for you guys? This must be a typo. This shit's 15. Like, you guys are.
Like, I didn't know that. It was an accident.
Exactly.
The problem is probably it's that Cody with his Midwestern values.
Christoph, I got to get the alcohol down this. What do I do?
No, it's the honesty of a Midwesterner, Cody Rasmussen,
not taking that 1% variance,
who wouldn't round off on the labels when he submitted them. 100%. Well, MJ, we can we'll tease it now. We don't have a date, but look for Sonoma's Grenache Study sometime in 2024.
Oh, cool, exciting.
Yeah. And I would
we
love
haven't
to
talked about it yet until
can,
now, but it's gonna. We'll get you here. That sounds like
you're all busy. You're all busy, fucking harvesting grapes and shit. I'm like fucking texting you. You don't text me back. No fucking love.
Concerts.
I'm like, what I do to Sam? you know, fucking going to dead shows.
The problem was Sam was forced to actually attend picks more than one day in a row this harvest, and
that's
really
actually
threw
true.
him off.
It really did.
That level of work and early mornings, it's just like, God, it's tough. It's tough when you're Sam.
I'm never talking to you in the parking lot again, Morgan.
Wow, we're right back to childhood.
We're right back on that playground behind.
And MJ, what time is it where you are?
Oh, it's 10:30, whatever time. It's 10, I guess, 10, whatever. It's 10:30, 10:45, 10:40, whatever.
It's 11.
Yeah.
It's
So
11
I'm
o'clock.
10 hours ahead of you guys?
I think that's Vincenzo o'clock.
Yeah, it's Vincenzo o'clock for sure.
I think you're right, man. It might be Vincenzo o'clock.
Awesome.
Yeah, awesome, guys. Well,
Hey,
seriously,
MJ,
congratulations.
am I on?
I'm really
MJ, can you hear me?
Excited to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, can you just maybe tell us a little bit about how that review of the 19 Muchas Piedras came about?
And the blood of gods.
Because I've had a lot of fun reading that review to people here in the tasting room.
Sonoma Noof to Pop.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so I probably came home. I'm going to track it. I don't remember exactly, but I usually come home and have a cocktail, right? And I really been into original Mai Tais these days, so I'll knock back a Mai Tai. And I do like a fucking Hemingway Mai Tai, so I don't do a jigger. I do 2 ounces, right? 2 ounces, and then, so I've had my Mai Tai. Then I probably had some white wine. Then I probably had a couple glasses of white wine. Then I probably cracked into that Muchos Machos Pizzas. And,
Macho
and then
Picchu, right?
at some point I went outside. And at one point I went outside and smoked a spliff because I can't smoke in the house, so I had to go smoke in the garage. And I'm drinking the bottle of wine and it's just changing. And then, it's like this thing where I was telling somebody, I'm sorry, I just dropped with Andy Pay. Like when I write the reviews of wines, I don't just taste them. That shit evolves over hours. So, I'll start with some basic notes in my phone. That's funny. And then fucking the edible kicked in, and then it was like Sonoma Enough to Pop, and it was like Mucho Machos Pedros. I think I might have been watching Nacho Libre. I can't really tell. It was a strange cocktail.
It's good to see that you're on the same line. As
Honestly,
Sam.
though, I had such bad writer's block on the last release that I had to write. I really wish that I had used some of these techniques. I think it really would have helped.
I got you, Morgan.
Yeah. I'm sure you do.
Well, MJ, have a great time over there. And thanks so much for being on the show, taking time to this afternoon.
Evening.
Or this evening. Yeah.
Oh, anytime, man. You guys know I'm down with y'all, man. I'm down with you guys. And I just before you, thank you before, but you guys are, for whatever it means, podcast famous, whatever modicum of success I have, you guys are a big part of that. Because I remember you're like the first podcast I was on when I hadn't even shown I was just doing the bottles and shit, and you guys were like, hey, let's have him on and help him launch this podcast. And you had me on in May, and I launched in September. So I'll never fucking forget that. Like, you guys brought me on your podcast. I'm not a winemaker, just some dumbass guy from New Jersey who likes to drink wine, smoke weed, and
drink good wine.
I really appreciate it. So thank you for yeah.
And thank you for
so
thanks
thank you guys for
coming along with us on this journey.
Yeah.
It's what makes it all worth it.
That's right. And so I can't wait to see you guys. We got a Grenache Day coming. We got April Fool's Day Part 2 coming up. So it's going to be a good year, 2024 for sure.
Awesome. Thanks, MJ.
All right, brother.
Hey guys, congratulations! Thanks so much.
Thank you so very much.
Talk to you soon.
man.
Thank you, MJ.
MJ from where the hell was he in Italy? Trento?
In the Veneto?
Nice.
Yeah.
Perfect. Should we give Brett George a call?
Close out with
Well, we're not quite closed. So.
Did we mention Bart's special announcement yet?
Should we drop Bart's?
No, go ahead, Bart.
Chenin Blanc.
Why do I have to?
I mean, we've been teasing it for 7 hours now.
If you're not ready to talk about it, Bart,
No,
I'll
just
say it for you.
Yeah, go right ahead, Sam. I'd love for you to do that. No, Dane Cellars is opening a tasting room.
Yes.
Wow.
Actually, it's not a tasting room; it's a tasting tank.
Right.
It's
Even
Dane
better.
Cellars at the tank.
Yeah.
Sweet.
So the redwood tank that sits out on Arnold Drive across from Jack London Village.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna go in there.
Oh, sick. Awesome.
It was
That's such a great, that was a bookstore before.
It was the Jack London bookstore originally, and then
Oh,
it was
wow.
a massage therapy studio for
That's
a
right.
while.
That's right.
Good vibes in there.
Exactly. Well, the aromas of patchouli are gone. I would say by now it's back to
we can change
redwood.
that.
Pure redwood. No, that's wonderful. I mean, that I feel like that Jack London Village area has long been under sort of like undersung in some ways. It's just so beautiful. And I mean, that Jack London Village building was the original Chauvet winery. So I mean, like it's really
and this tank was part of that.
Exactly.
It was
so
brought across the street.
So truly steeped in Sonoma Valley history there. That's very exciting.
Yeah. So we're going to keep it simple. But yeah, I'm super excited. It's kind of filling in the missing link to try to get, make the wine business make any sense.
Right.
So
the whole selling part of it.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so now people that listen to the show can come out and actually.
So what we'll do, we're going to start
the
off
tasting.
by appointments. Maybe on weekends we'll be open. It's still a couple months out, but the sign is going up here very shortly, and I'm starting to look to have someone make a sign. And we're going to have full tasting experiences with me. It's just going to be me. And as long as I can stand to do that, I have, some great supporters that are helping me, going to help promote it, and we're going to get it out there and just give it a try. So.
Well, it's
awesome.
perfect. It's like down the street from your house. It's literally down the street from where you worked at Benziger.
Yep, it is.
I mean, you're across the street from Rob Schermeister, who's a friend of the pod as well. I mean, it's a cool little
for me
space, and it's not a you're not biting off more than you can chew.
No,
it's
I
not
mean,
this huge
listen,
tasting space.
It's not a huge
playing
space.
Plaza Rent.
I'm not playing Plaza Rent. That's the only reason it's
I was gonna
happening.
say, did you see our 443 square feet of hooker house and go like, I can be smaller than that?
You know what? It's like a 7,000 gallon tank, so I think it's 13 feet across.
Yeah.
So who moved out?
A grower down in Napa Carneros called Brasini family.
Oh yeah,
and there's a Pinot producer, and so they're moving out. And
Eric Ross.
Eric Ross is still there, and Eric Luce. He has the permit or the lease on both of them.
Got it.
So he's just looking for a partner and to kind of do it. So we're gonna give it a go. I always said I was never gonna have a tasting room on the plaza just because I don't think it would work for me.
Right.
But I think I can make this work. And there's something about the fact that when I started in the business, one of the first things I did was crawled in a tank. And so at this point in my career to be pouring my own wines in a tank is pretty fun.
In a redwood tank. It's very fitting. Yeah. Very.
It's perfect.
California.
Congratulations, man. That's really awesome, Bart. So.
Yeah. So official date. What are you shooting for?
You know what? That will depend on the government and the county of Sonoma, most likely. So more to come.
2024.
Yes. Yeah. It's definitely going to be
Mid.
2024. So.
All right.
Well, and Morgan's headphones came
Just saying,
apart.
Artie
So.
came in here and ripped my headphones off. So.
Are they working? All okay?
Oh yeah, we're good.
All right. Well, you know what? We're going to give Brett George a call real quick. How's that? All right. Everybody into that?
All right.
Excellent.
Hey, Morgan, thanks for coming by. Really appreciate it.
My pleasure. Chris literally just stuck his head in the door because he's still here and was like, "We have a budgeting meeting 5 minutes ago." So that's
righty.
what
Well, we'll let
we're
you
gonna
go.
go. We're gonna go lead
Morgan,
some glamorous
thank you
wine
so
country
very
life.
much for coming over.
No,
Really, truly appreciate it.
congratulations, you guys. Really,
Thank you.
really appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
So,
Yeah.
Yep, this will be the highlight of the day for sure. So, yeah, congrats, guys.
I mean, better than a budget meeting, right?
Yeah. I mean, there was a low bar.
All right. Well, we've got Brett George on the almost online. He is ready for us.
Well, we'll see.
Not George Brett.
Not George Brett.
Not George Brett. Not George Brett. Is that it?
Brett George.
I'm here.
No, it's
Present.
as I say, it's Brett George, not Brett George, not George Brett.
We're already shit faced.
Welcome.
He's like great.
Welcome, man. How you doing today?
I am spectacular. When I was told that you guys were going to take a break and then call, I was very nervous. So glad to hear you're enjoying yourself.
Well, it is like an hour later, right?
Dude.
It is an hour later.
Where are you?
I am in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, staring at the art museum from our office.
Yeah, hey there. Man, we had so much fun in Milwaukee, man. The Bradley Center with the Stones and Clapton and McCartney. Yeah. All kinds of fun there, man. Stay at the Pfister. Mm-hmm. It's a great weekend.
Still do.
So, Brett,
yeah,
did you get a chance to look at some of Sam's questions?
Perhaps, but I'm coming in a bit cold, so fire.
That's quite all right. I think one of the things about you is Well, first of all, how did you find out about the podcast?
It's actually a pretty good question. I was trying to retrace the steps with Kristen last night, and I guess maybe the very quick backstory is we first came out in 2010 with some very close college friends that lived in the East Bay. And we drove up for the day. They drove, thank God. And frankly, I was looking back at pictures, and we went to Chateau St. Jean, St. Francis, Mondavi, Ravenswood, Sterling, Franciscan, Behringer, Kenwood, and Castello di Amorosa in one day. So that was our introduction.
One day?
To wine country. I confirmed with Kristen. They all had the same date on the picture, and that was a one-day trip. So it was a pretty aggressive agenda. I think
You think?
Frankly, I got Kristen there because that was the time where Castello di Amorosa had The Bachelor, and they went there, and so that was a must-go destination, and we got hooked on wine country following that trip.
And has it?
Then we came.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
No,
then we
go
came
ahead.
back. We came back a couple years later, and somebody told us we should check out this place called Repris. And after doing the shotgun tour the first time around and paying $15 or $20 to do a bunch of wine tastings, stand at a counter, get small pours, and leave, we were introduced to Repris and cave tours, and got in the ATV and went up the hillside, and that changed the game for us. I think that time we learned about Cayman, and so it went from Repris to Cayman to Hamel, and the spiral started where we, I think, probably found Sam somewhere along the way in 16600, and the rest is history. So that's our backstory.
And it seems that you've, for the most part, you guys have been out every year since, right? And kind of have settled in Sonoma.
Yeah, so from, I guess that point was pre-kids. We now have 3 boys, and Kristen and I come out as a point of emphasis every fall. So generally around harvest time, but we've done kind of spring, summer, and fall as life dictates at this point. And yeah, Sonoma's home base. So frankly, a lot of wine clubs have kept us in and around Sonoma. You guys have kept us in and around Sonoma. And when I tell people about our passion and whatever, frankly, the thing I always realize is that I'm probably lacking in a little bit of diversity, but what I am is rich in is enterprise vineyard farmed grapes, and probably a dozen or more places that we've bought that you guys have had on the podcast. So
when you guys were warriors
we
too,
are big fans.
I mean, Grenache Day, the only people that were working more hours than I was you. You guys were there for the party on Friday night.
Dinner Saturday
You were there
night.
for dinner Saturday night, concert on Sunday, and then I even saw you on Monday. Maybe? Was it Monday or Tuesday?
True story.
Yeah.
No, yeah, that was Monday, and then Wheels Up. So
Yeah.
that was a phenomenal weekend. That was our first vinyl Sunday. I always joke with Sam that it was good to be on the receiving end and get to enjoy the whole thing instead of just subsidizing all the fun you guys get to have. So,
Well, that's appreciated.
That was a
too.
phenomenal weekend.
That's appreciated.
Well,
So yeah, this was our first year ever coming out twice. We came out in January for Kristen's birthday and the wraparound in the fall. So it's been a good year.
When are you coming back?
Man, I wish I knew that. Her birthday's in January. She's probably angling for that, but at a minimum, summer, fall 2024, I guess would be the plan. But
that sounds
hopefully
good.
we can finagle something sooner.
It sounds like we're going to do April Fool's Day again, which hasn't really been solidified. But I mean, if we can make that happen again, it seems like people enjoyed it. So, Sam, are we doing April Fool's Day? Yeah.
Apparently.
That's what I was just saying. Apparently, we're doing that. Yeah.
Welcome back, Sam.
Oh, who are we talking to?
Brett George.
Oh, how's it going? Don't call me George. Brett George.
There you go.
Oh, he's right on point, right on time. Perfect.
Well, it has been an on-brand day. I'll say that.
Your name came up a couple of times in the list of people that have become friends in real life from the podcast. I think Burns called you out and somebody else. So thanks for answering your phone.
Absolutely. Happy to. I have my little notepad of things that I would wanted to remember, and his name's on there as well. So.
And he didn't answer because he was
Turns out he's a real person.
And doing business today instead of answering to hang out with the podcast. It's a time zone thing, probably, though.
Well, I think actually he set a time for us, and we didn't live up to his time.
Destroyed the schedule.
Blew right past that time.
Just take what we tell you. Add an hour and a half.
It's Sam time.
Sonoma time. It's not just me, but it's
actually
mostly me.
It's Phil time.
Yeah,
right?
really what it is. It's genetic.
Right.
All right, Brett. Well, thank you so much for being on the show. Truly appreciate it. Thanks for being a listener. You are one of the great guys. Keep us where we are. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Really appreciate it.
No questions, no curveballs. I thought I was going to get the hard press from you guys.
No,
cut me off easy.
We wouldn't do that to you.
All right. What's the worst wine you've bought because you listened to the show?
I think we have one sitting in front of us.
Wow.
Oh. And it's okay to say Martha Shard.
Wow, that is hurtful and harsh. I'm going to avoid that one. I frankly was going to wonder what was off limits, but I didn't think you'd go right there. All
right.
The one thing I was just thinking back on though, from I think you had asked a question of a podcast moment, and the one that I had written down. I don't know what the wine was, but you and Sam and Todd Jolly did a menthol cigarette pairing with one of the wines when you had Todd on years back, and I think that is an all-time.
Thank God my wife doesn't listen to this.
God, yeah, I'm gonna have to go back and listen to that episode.
Was it a comparison or a pairing? We usually don't allow smoking inside the tasting room, just outside.
It wasn't actually in progress. It wasn't in progress.
Okay.
It was a theoretical. It was theoretical.
Oh,
that might have been me then.
Right.
At the time, Newport smoker.
That would make more sense. Yes.
Yeah. Maybe it was. Yeah. Maybe it was.
I stopped smoking menthol cigarettes when I stopped going to raves. So
I just switched.
You just switched.
Yeah, one leaf to another.
Yeah, fair enough.
Full
Yeah,
time.
exactly.
All
One
right,
plant
Brett.
that grows better in California than other parts of the state.
Thanks, man. Much appreciated.
Thank you, Brett.
Thanks
Say hi to your
Cheers,
wife.
guys. Well done.
Love you guys.
300's incredible. I will.
Awesome.
Thanks, guys.
Take
Yeah.
care. How nice is that, man? You know, really, we've got some great listeners. So, all right.
Should I go through some of these other? I didn't.
Please do.
Yeah, for sure.
So, all these amazing questions and responses, and of course, we've just had too many. Favorite wine discovery. It was Gary Swanson who said discovering that winemakers that have day jobs making side projects. Chris Calabrese talking about Contango as one of their favorite discoveries. A paradigm call out, Belong Wine and Smith story from our friend Kelly. Robert French, Buckland. New winemakers, Coral Wang gets a mention.
Yeah.
Travis Barkley called Jeff Cohen a new winemaker. I think that either he was being funny or forgot. Emmy Wines.
Rosalind Reynolds.
Yeah, there we go.
One of my favorite shows.
The Dave Ramey and the Tor ones and Dan Costa popping up a couple times. We talked about Joel a lot, but as far as some of like the legacy,
Dave,
longtime names that came on the show with new projects or sort of, the Ramey one in the middle of their sort of like family succession and everything was really awesome. The variety that you've tried, you're talking both Jesse Woods and Roger Randall basically saying they wouldn't have been drinking Grenache if it wasn't for us. So that's awesome. Again, the Friends one is probably my favorite. Jackie and Gustavo Sotelo gets mentioned from Angela Nadeau. Then the friendship between the Frenches and the Randalls is awesome. Love that. Let's see. Jasmine gets a mention. Kelly gets a mention. Kelly Cornett is somebody that is
and
real.
we got Roger on the line. We were just mentioning you, Roger.
Wait,
Randall.
we're talking to Roger.
Well, you know what? See, I'm the one who screwed up.
Roger's
I don't.
previous interview did not get recorded.
Yes.
Oh, hey, Roger Randall.
Hey, Roger, we haven't talked to you in forever.
I know it's been. It seems like it's been hours.
Yeah, seriously, it has. You should be here. Well, hey, man, how's everything going in St. Louis, and how's your new gig? I mean, you're working hard.
It's great. Yeah, well, I took on a part-time gig just to help some friends out through the Christmas season in a wine shop here in St. Louis. If I can throw out the name, the Wine and Cheese Place. And,
please do.
It's
the wine and cheese place.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah,
well,
the wine and cheese
you
place.
mean it's a wine and cheese place called
Hey, I'm staying.
Wine and Cheese
I'm
Place.
staying on brand. I just throw it out there and wait and see if he'll edit it out.
Right.
Father will edit it out.
Make sure we're recording.
No.
And we just had Morgan Twain Peterson on. He said it was so nice to see you.
Yeah, it was great seeing him and his dad. It was Morgan and Joel were just so accommodating and so much fun, and came into our store. I couldn't believe they came all the way out to our store and did the tasted through their wines, and then talked the management into bringing in about 6 or 8 of their wines. So we'll have those to sell through Christmas, and it'll be fun. It's going to be a blast. Like I said, if you fry your turkey, you can use Zinfandel.
No. I'm not doing that, Roger.
No, we don't fry turkeys in California. It's too much of a fire risk.
I saw somebody in Chicago start a fire in his driveway.
And you guys didn't mention it's National Zinfandel Day today.
It is? Excellent.
Zap just sent out an email, said it's National Zinfandel Day.
Says who?
Zap.
Says Zap. But
Zap.
We've been busy recording and haven't checked our email. Happy National Zinfandel Day.
So, Roger, of course, Dave Hayes and Brett George were just talking about you. So, hey,
That's very cool. Very cool. It's a great community. I call it a community just because of the fact that you never know who you're going to meet when you come out to the tasting rooms or go to Bart's or go all over the place. And Dave Hayes being here in St. Louis makes it nice. And Robert French and his lovely wife, Julie, visiting them numerous times after meeting them through the show. It's been a blast. It's a blast. So is Bart still upright?
Yeah, you
know what?
Just barely.
Roger, what the do you mean by that?
I'm just
Hour 5 on episode 300.
I mean, I start tasting wine at 8:30.
Would I expect anything else from the guy?
He's a pro, man. He's not like me. I'm a lightweight.
I know. Well, I'd like to say hi to the entire staff at Dane Cellars. Hi, Bart. And
Well, you don't know about this yet. You don't know. He's opening a
next time you
tasting
come
room.
out, you're going to be able to taste at Bart's spot.
And in his tank.
Bart's spot.
Yeah, he's
Bart's
opening a
opening
tasting room
in Glen Ellen.
You have a
Oh,
spot,
my
Roger.
goodness.
You heard it here first. You don't have to
Oh.
go. You don't
Well, I
have to
thought
go
the
to his
spot
house
was
and
in
get jumped
deck.
on by his dog anymore.
Right, exactly.
I enjoyed that part.
You can now at the Dane Cellars tank. You can pay extra to get jumped on by Pepper.
Right.
There we go.
Yeah, I think it's a 3-case minimum.
If there's no pepper, then it's a 3-case minimum.
You can do that, Roger.
Okay, that sounds fair. That sounds fair.
So, what do you have in your cellar right now? You're still on Cellar Tracker, right?
Yes. Sitting at about 1275 as of this week.
Yeah. How nice is that?
So I've
It's only 4 years.
get a nice variety of California wines, a little bit of French in there, a little German in there, and
Any Italian? We just talked to MJ.
Oh, of course.
He's in Italy right now.
oh wow!
So we talked to him.
I have a little bit of Italian. I pick up more at the store and bring it home and drink it than I do in the cellar. But
Yeah.
it seems like I have a lot of wine from Sonoma. I don't know why that would be.
Really? Amazing. Imagine that.
It's amazing imagine how that happens. So,
You can keep listening to the show, Roger.
Yeah, just good answers.
I'm allowed to keep going up.
All right, Roger.
As I'm harvesting diamonds from the rosé bottle right now.
Oh.
And
Wait, who
no, I
is-
love that.
Collect them all, and you can get a free bottle.
I know. That's what I thought. Well, I got to
Collect
return
them
this
all.
one. I got to do something with them.
Exactly. You got to return the bottle anyway.
Well, Roger, I think you're going to be actually our last guest on the show today.
We're going to wrap it up.
Probably a good idea.
Wrap it up. And
says the FCC.
Alice, I hope Alice Couture can sit down with us for just a minute.
That was the longest she's ever listened to the podcast.
Is that it?
She poked her head into the door right now.
She's like, yeah, that's what I thought.
Alice and Terry can compare notes on their favorite episodes.
The one we didn't talk about when we got home were their favorite episodes.
Well, Roger,
And again, I'll go back. Like it was said, if it's not on recording, it didn't really happen. So, like I said, my favorite episode is the one with Tony Mall from Three Fat Guys Winery. That was a blast. I learned so much that day that I did not understand. A football player was from Sonoma and made wine, and it was great. Yeah. And he's still going strong.
We didn't understand a lot of that show either ourselves. So,
all right, brother.
And I'm sitting here with a piece of amphora on my front porch.
Oh, really? Where did that come from?
I'm glad that happened.
That was one of
you guys are on brand.
Yeah,
you guys are on brand.
Thank
Today,
you.
both shipments, as I was sitting here listening, waiting for you guys to call back, both shipments arrived on the same day.
That's perfect.
Really, today?
16600 in Dane Cellars.
Nice.
So,
go.
I'd say we planned it, but
and I got
you know better.
Yeah.
That was amazing. That was amazing. There's a nice couple of pictures on Facebook when you guys get done and can turn on your mobile devices.
Oh my God. Okay. Well, thank you so very much, man. First of all, being one of our leading edge listeners, and it's truly appreciated. Thanks.
No problem. I appreciate it. You guys, cheers and congrats to 300 episodes. Here's to 300 more, and I'd love to be on the number 600 show.
Right on.
Cheers, Roger. Thank you.
Man. Happy holidays to you.
Cheers, guys.
See you guys. Bye.
See you guys.
All right. Well, Roger Randall from St. Louis. I think we're finished.
Wait, so if you screwed that up, what happened when we were talking on the show? Was it just like no one talking?
It was on the GoPro.
We got it recorded.
That's why I went back and called Roger. And if you want to do a pour, we'll do it.
No, he got the pour.
Okay.
You got the four-way pour.
We're just gonna have to edit the shit out of
Chris
it.
Cottrell's thing.
Yeah.
That's why Chris came back, because we weren't sure.
Yeah. Well.
All right, one last response.
I did it, Brian. I did it
because we haven't mentioned this yet. Matt DeCourt, loyal listener down there in Central Coast.
Yep.
When I said region you want to visit from the Instagram stories, he said after listening to the Shen Blue episodes, he wants to go there.
Fuck loose.
But also he wants to go to Lodi, which is more realistic. I thought that was my favorite answer. One of my favorite answers out there. And Max, yes, they don't actually store the moguls in a warehouse in Sparks.
Thank you, gentlemen. It's been a pleasure to work with you for 6 years. It's great. We've got a really good thing going. We got traction early, right at the right time. Bart, it's been a pleasure. I've learned a tremendous amount about winemaking from you and for us. And Brian,
what not to
from the days of sitting in the Girl in the Fig, trying to scam your wine cellars into coming onto my radio show, and Sam, you too. I mean, this is incredible. I've really loved it. Thanks, much appreciated.
Thank you, John. And I started when Chris was here. I started talking about the Zoom days, and the value of all of this was so driven home during that time, just to have this social outlet to talk to friends, to talk to you guys, to meet new people, whether it's in real life or in virtual life. That's what makes it all worth it. That's what has gotten us to 300 and will get us the next another fucking 300. Can we pull it off? I don't know. We'll see.
I'm here. It's all good. So I'll let you guys go back to work.
Shout outs?
Yeah, can I?
If anyone's still listening.
We got
winemaker dinner on Tuesday.
Oh, there you go.
Oh yeah,
there's a couple.
There's a few tickets. There's a few tickets. Oh, Brian. Of course, Brian's got notes.
No, I'm trying to figure out Tuesday. I'm trying to figure out how I can get to the winemaker dinner, because normally that's like a childcare kind of situation. But I'm going to see if I can swap that somehow.
Okay.
I really want to go.
I'd love for you to be there.
And New Year's Eve in Sonoma, we had Tanner in for a minute. New Year's Eve at the Sebastiani Theater, Marty O'Reilly with Tanner's band Little Worth opening. We're going to pour some wine. I'm going to buy a couple cases of Under the Wire. We're going to do a little champagne toast at midnight.
Big fun.
So check that out at SebastianiTheater.org probably.
Excellent.
I just wanted to say that Sam and I, went out to Atlanta and got a nice little tour of the city, and got to hit some cool spots. So I just wanted, is it cool? Can I say thank you to all the? Yeah. So Kevin at Homegrown had an incredible breakfast there.
That was awesome.
Christian at La Grata, this cool
La
Italian
Grata,
restaurant
oh my
that's like
God.
under a retirement community.
That was wild.
Smells like mothballs, and then you get down, it smells like veal parmesan.
Yeah.
Press Shop, Ashley and Morgan.
That was cool.
Lazy Betty.
Lazy Betty.
Everyone just
Michelin
got their
star
stars,
restaurant in the
so,
middle of like a cinder block industrial freaking. That was awesome.
Right?
Yeah.
Jami at Kitty Dare.
Oh yeah, Kitty Dare.
Cool Iranian guy that gave us the lowdown on all the rumor mill going on.
No holds barred.
Jet at Southern Belle, where we had a really nice dinner.
Southern Belle. They did a great job. Som at Little Alley Steak Shop.
Som at Little Alley Steakhouse, who we're now following on Instagram.
Jason Willafor at Mujo, the sushi place that we have to go back to Atlanta.
Turning it out, got their Michelin star 2 Urban Licks. Great artwork and cool. And then Elemental Spirits.
Yeah. And then a huge thanks to Sean F., Eric Crane, the man, the myth, the legend,
and Tiffany and Bobby,
Tiffany
our first
and Bobby
day.
Ladrino and Tiffany Morris, Timo, she was amazing, and owe it all to Kelly.
I mean, Kelly just killed it, and thank you, Kelly, for everything.
Cork in the road.
Cork in the road.
Her parents are going to be here tomorrow night at the Girl in the Fig, so we're going to send a little bottle over, maybe some goodies out to the table, and make sure they get welcomed in the correct way. Awesome. Yeah,
perfect.
Yeah.
And we want to thank you guys, everybody who's been listening over the last 6 years, and Zoom here, and thanks for the tasting room.
This was the idea when we started talking about this a few months ago was the listener appreciation show. Yeah, and I don't know if we nailed that or not, but it was a good time. And
we appreciate you listening.
None of it happens without the listeners.
That's right. All right, everybody. We will talk to you next week. Thanks for listening to the Winemakers.